Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Should we come up with more analogies?
Again. Yeah.
This is my life, y'all.
Yeah.
Flushing down the toilet. Kidding.
So last time we talked to you, we had the pleasure of talking to you via Zoom. So much nicer to have you in person.
Oh my God, thank you.
And lovely just to meet you in general. But I distinctly remember thinking of you as like, of all the couples that came from that season, I found myself like liking you guys the most. And, you know, not to necessarily compare the others. And certainly, you know, you guys at that point, I don't even think you were even engaged, let alone married at the time.
Well, guys, listen, welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. We're going to break down live breakdown of, the situation with Raven and SK. We're going to get deep into it real quick. It's about probably an hour long. I might not do the whole thing. I might do a part 1 today, part 2 tomorrow, because it is going to be a long breakdown. But this, if you haven't watched it already, guys, I advise you to go and watch it because it's nuts. But stick with this. You know what I mean? It's going to be crazy. It's a great conversation. The things that she brings up, SK, baby. I thought you SK did a whole madness unnecessarily, like unprovoked, just unprovoked, and even when he had the opportunity to come clean, he still didn't come clean. That is a madness for me. But you know what? We're gonna break it all the way down for you guys. We're gonna extract some of the information and hopefully bring a bit more light to what was happening as well. So if you are new to the channel, do me a massive favor, like it, share, subscribe, okay, and click on that bell button for the notification of the what uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the mirrors. All right, let's get into the video. Don't waste much time. I want to get straight into this madness. Let's go.
And there were, but I just, you know, with these types of shows, sometimes, you know, everyone kind of has a different path, but there's certainly pressures, you know, both internally and externally. And while, you know,
it's not important, this part.
How
much we're getting? Hey, how we going? Hold on, guys. I start playing it, and they start giving me adverts. I can't believe it. I should have downloaded the video first. I should have downloaded the video first because that's nuts. All right, cool. It's gonna come back on in a second, so we'll bring it back. But again, it's nuts. Let's watch it. There we go. We're back now, guys. We're back. And
kind of pick up where we left off, but there is so much love there, and like he is literally my best friend. So yeah, we've been making it work between Texas and California. So.
That's awesome. A couple questions on that. One, what advice do you have for anyone trying to make a long distance relationship work?
Ooh, I think go on Love Is Blind. No, I'm just kidding. But really, like, what makes it work for us is that we have such a strong foundation that's really like based in communication. Mm-hmm. So that I feel like is essentially what you need for a long distance relationship. I trust him so much. And I also know that like we have such good communication skills between each other that if something's wrong or someone needs a little bit extra, like poured into them, or having a rough week, like we can be that for each other. So I think for me, what I have always looked for in a relationship is like a really strong partnership, you know, and we really have that.
Okay, let's just break down the first part of what she just spoke there, right? She said quite clearly, this is what she's talking about there. She did an audio recording with the gentleman there, and they did a kind of like a mini interview, but he asked her about where she was earlier on, right? At this point in conjunction, when she's speaking on that part, she's actually speaking from a place where her and SK are supposedly good. Now, if you remember when we had the whole Hannah coming out and the other girl coming out, you know, at the time, Raven wasn't talking much, but this is before she found out not any of the madness, bro. So right now she's cool. She's giving energy, saying, you know what, they have communication. You know, they get along. They've bought a lease together. They've moved in together. They're talking about the future. He's engaged her. Like, yo, part of this, I fully understand why she got duped, because you know when someone's doing the most, it's hard to sometimes read that. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not even going to be mad at her. So she's really just talking about how they had a really great connection at this point in time. Let's listen a bit more. I might have to speed up a little bit because it'd be long. This part ain't really interesting that much. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Well, yeah, obviously
going.
that's an emotional. It's emotional to watch.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
It just really brings me back to like I really felt like that,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like, you know, we had filmed so long ago. It was nice to kind of like finally talk about our story because, like you said, it was so different, especially than everyone else's, and it was something we were really proud of. You know, we had some different circumstances like that made our relationship different culturally. The school thing, having to move, that was all against us, and we still like made something really, really cool work. And like, I was just so proud of us and, like, super in love. So, to watch that, I'm like, "Dang," like, I really was, like, under a guy's, you know?
Spell.
I was under witchcraft.
I'm glad Ellie and Amanda suggested that we play that.
Not her calling it witchcraft. Just because Nigerian does not mean it's witchcraft, darling. But I think she's talking about some real thing here. Like she was under a spell, right? You know, you get so sucked in, so deep into the particular life of somebody that you know what, when they break you, it does feel like, you know what, you were under some witchcraft, right? It wasn't witchcraft. The reality is they were I believe, personally, can I be honest with you? You know, SK, when she looks back at it, she's able to explain some of the red flags that she missed. That's the reality, right? And remember, I told you guys, I've been saying it as well, about this. The moment that you choose to be invulnerable, it actually makes you vulnerable for attack. If you're not vulnerable, it makes you more vulnerable from attack. You think you're winning it, but you're not. The more vulnerable you are, the more open you are, the more comfortable you are with yourself and sharing how you feel, the more easy it is to spot the predators and those who are trying to make you prey. Because once you begin to open, you're going to see how they are going to respond to it. But if you become invulnerable, what happens is the person starts to tease you out of your invulnerability. You're like, oh my god, they're like, that person's making me even they're making me feel, making me feel loved. They're making me feel cared. This person's teasing me out. Okay, I see it. You know, I see it. Yeah, I see it. Like you're making me feel okay. And a lot of times, and I'll say this, and I'll actually watch we understand why I'm coming this way, right? Susanna said, obviously, now that let's not get the red flags were not these major things that she was oblivious to. No, there were red flags, and this is why I keep saying that sometimes we got to take accountability. I know it's hard to say. I know it's easier to say that I got fooled. I know it's easier to say that. I know it's easier to say that somebody is such a great person that you never saw it coming. But the reality is there are red flags and there are signs within yourself. And when one is experienced and is able to be one with self in the fullest way, you start to see all these games being played. Now, had you played this game and it was like, oh, I played this game in a long-term relationship and it's been a long time, then it's different. Your partner who you trusted, who you loved, who you were in a relationship for a long time, then cheats. That's a completely different scenario. Nah, this guy was bamboozling from the beginning. He was bamboozling from the beginning, right? He was bamboozling from the beginning. And as she starts telling the story, you'll start hearing some of the flags that keep coming up. You'll start hearing some of the flags that keep coming up. There are flags that are coming up. There are flags, you know what I mean? There are flags. No one is perfectly good at this game. You'll start to realize as she starts to explain her story, you'll start to realize because of the way that she's been built and the way that she's experienced life, there's certain things that she just trusted instead of asking it. Plus, she's a hopeless romantic. Hopeless romantics are one of the worst because they literally hope. They literally hope on things rather than actually looking at going for what it actually is. You understand? You have to hold a perfect tension between, okay, I'm trusting, but at the same time, also, I've got to do my due diligence. It's a healthy tension. And once you're kind of healed in the right places, you start being able to hold a healthy tension. I'm not saying that you're never gonna spot someone moving mad the whole entire life, right? No one's saying that, right? But I'm saying, like, when someone moves mad from the very beginning, because he was moving mad from the very beginning, not from the middle, from the beginning, then there are going to be red flags that you're going to see. But we're going to play it, right? We're going to play it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to play it.
not to necessarily bring back sad memories, but that was, what was it, November?
Yeah.
And like a week or two later, that's when shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a couple of women started coming forward via TikTok or social media or whatever, and making accusations and claims that they had some kind of relationship with SK. I know what it's like to have trust someone and only to realize that maybe I shouldn't have. And if you're anyone who's ever been in that position, and I'm curious what you think, but there's kind of this like internal struggle of, almost like you don't want to go against what you thought you felt, like I said, I trust them. I put it out there. I do trust them. And so if I say I trust this person, these are the moments where I need to show them I trust them, especially, when things come forward. And, and we live in a world where, people do, love some clout, and they love attention. And that's usually kind of the first response to someone's defense in these type of scenarios. But I'd love if you're willing to kind of bring us into that room and that time, wherever you were, when you first found out about these rumors about SK having alleged relationships with other women.
Yeah. So, like you said, it kind of all came at different times with different women, but it started with one girl who he'd actually met in San Francisco. And when I found out about it, I found out with everyone else on TikTok. And this was actually right before Thanksgiving, and he was at school and I was in Dallas. And yeah, just randomly, I want to say it was like early in the afternoon, and just my phone started going crazy. Everyone sending it to me. Did you see this? And so, I watched it a few times. She had some pictures and messages on there. I confirmed that it was actually like some of the same pictures he had sent me. So I knew it was real.
When you say pictures he sent you, what do you mean?
So, in one of those conversations, and again, this is with the first girl that he met in San Francisco on Hinge, he was in Austin during these pictures that I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
This was, I want to say, March. It was before my birthday. And I had just come back from Austin with him. We went to South by Southwest.
Listen, do you know how mad it is? Can't lie to you, yeah? She's saying that they went on holiday in March for her birthday, came back, and he went on another holiday. What? And then as he went on holiday, he took couple photos with the other girl too. SK is a damn demon. There is no mistake from SK. Let me be very frank. And you know what? To say, oh, maybe I fell into it. No. He was taking these women out, flying them out, going to different places. Like, yo, it be made. He was listen, this is not a case of, I slept with a girl and I just wanted some sex. No. You were doing what I call the emotional F-boy stuff. In fact, emotional F-boy, where you were flying these women out, having whole ass almost relationships with these other girls. You were doing what your dad did, but in a different format. At least your dad did it legally. You were doing it illegally. You didn't tell any of these women what about each other. You were doing your madness and then lying about it. So you went on. So after her, but no. Let's just deep what she actually said. Let's go back quickly. Ooh, that was hot. Damn.
Afternoon, and just my phone started going crazy. Everyone sending it to me. Did you see this? And so, I watched it a few times. She had some pictures and messages on there. I confirmed that it was actually like some of the same pictures he had sent me. So I knew it was real.
When you say pictures he sent you, what do you mean?
So, in one of those conversations, and again, this is with the first girl that he met in San Francisco on Hinge, he was in Austin during these pictures that I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
This was, I want to say, March. It was before my birthday. And I had just come back from Austin with him. We went to South by Southwest. He actually lived in Austin for a while.
Okay.
And so I had come back from Austin, and he was just like sending me pictures. He went on the lake with his brother, and I was like, oh, I wish we would have had time to do that, whatever. Fast forward, she posts the same pictures he had sent me.
So when he sent her the photos saying, oh, no. When he said, no. When he said he was out here on the lake, I remember this because I did a video. I showed you guys the video. Literally, he photoed him on the lake. It's a bit like the swindler, the Tinder swindler. He sent photos of her. Remember the Tinder swindler sent photos of himself in the hospital. Basically, what SK did was sent photos of him on the lake with his brother, but he was out with another girl. Then sent that particular picture to to Raven, but only sent the picture of himself. Didn't send the video where he was out with a girl on that lake. So the girl that was saying that he was cheating, she was on the lake with him. Oh, SK, moving like your daddy all over again, baby.
So like same background, same lake,
exact thing,
and like the same like update on my day.
Yeah.
Like
Same
here's what I'm
exact
doing with my
thing.
brother. So glad he's updating multiple
copy
people.
and paste, and it was literally verbatim.
Not a copy and paste too, sir. You know the copy and paste, sir. Oh man.
And the same exact selfie, the same exact words.
He basically could have put you in a group chat.
Oh my days. We can't be suffering with these bro. That is mad.
What's up, my man? Hey, Connor.
Oh, okay, the brother wasn't there. Okay. It was just him.
The usual?
Ah, my mercy of God, bro. Someone said SK may be book smart but immature when it comes to relationship, but also can't believe she fell for shenanigans second time. That's what I'm saying. That you know what, when you see the signs, it's double yellow line. I can't be doing YouTube Premium. I'm not spending £6 for YouTube Premium. Forget that stuff. Get chill. All right.
Foundation, like we were coming from a place like I trusted him with anything, like in everything. So I never would have thought. To me, it's like you feel the same way about us. You're talking to us the same way. He actually invited her to Austin. So I'm like, okay, we just went to Austin. He stayed. Then you're going to turn around and fly another girl out. And it ended up not happening. And that was kind of his saving grace for not me forgiving him for this first thing that came out. I didn't like forgive him for it, but I was like, okay, it was just a Hinge date. You know, he didn't have not much came of it. The girl never went to Austin. So it was a lot of hurtful words. Yeah. And it was hard to see like he was entertaining someone with like the same exact information he was giving to me. And I'm someone he's known.
See when I said there were red freaking flags. When I say there are red freaking flags, this is one of the red freaking flags. If somebody is going to send the same thing to... Listen, you know what? When I was 17, let me tell you something happened to me at 17. I was 17. This is MySpace days. Remember MySpace? A lot of you guys are of a good audience age. MySpace days. I remember I sent two girls that were friends the same poem. The same poem. Shout out to, you know who you are, ladies. I know, you know, we friends now, we fun. I sent the same poem to both ladies. Yeah. And I remember what they said after. I said, oh, but you know, us because I got love for both of you. They said, how can you send the same? How can you be so lazy and send us both the same poem? The same poem. I said, but no. There was like this. Listen, we ain't gonna have it. We will not have it. We're not about to be. We're not about to be. We're not about to be out here trying to, you know, do things with you when you send us the same poem. That's disrespectful, right? Told me it's disrespectful, and that was it. The end of that chance went. Couldn't get any of them. That was it. The end. Done. So imagine you now you find out that at that point. You for the streets. If I found out a girl sent me and the same guy the same kind of thing, I'm gonna tell you now, you're for the streets. I'm gonna have fun with you. We will have fun, but I'm not about to date you. Okay? We can have fun, but I'm not about to date you. I told you one of my rules as well. Listen, if I steal you from somebody else, I can't wife you. I can't. It's just a rule I've had from since I was a kid. If you steal that girl from somebody else, you do not wife her because she can be stolen from you. And the moment you break that rule is the moment that you're gonna find out that rule was really there to save your life. You understand, baby? How are you gonna forgive him after that?
For a long time.
So, what did he first say when this came out? Did he own up to it?
A little, not really. What do
you mean by a little? Not really.
Yeah.
Do you remember like his exact like phrasing or response at first?
It's funny because this is a thread throughout it. Anytime there would be like a moment like this, there'd always be lots of hesitation. And at this point, he didn't answer the phone for a while. And I knew.
He just went dark on you.
Yeah, for a little.
Not like mini ghosted.
A mini go. And I mean, we're like, because we were so good at communicating because we've been long distance for a while now. Like, there's never a time he's not going to answer the phone for me, especially when his whole family was sending this to him too, right? So I think he didn't answer me back for like an hour or two.
Okay.
But
that was not the norm in the pattern that you had.
But every time something would go it was always this. He would always kind of go dark for a little bit to get his thoughts together. And this was kind of the start when I started putting the pieces together from every other time he's acted similarly.
So when he first, after an hour or two, what was he saying to you?
He was like, yeah, it's true. I met this girl on Hinge. We met one time. It wasn't a date. Like, I met her out after a club or whatever. You know, I was texting her. I did send her those pictures when I was in Austin, and I'm sorry for that. But all I did, I saw her physically one time.
Get up to 75% off.
These adverts are going to be absolutely mugging it, bro. These adverts are mugging it, guys.
What were you kind of going back and forth between in terms of like the way you were making sense of this all?
Yeah. And I'm sure this is the part we were kind of talking about this before. That's like people are going to think and say like, girl, like you should have known, you should, you know, and yeah, I should have known, you know, but everyone goes through this where,
of course, babe,
you know,
we all go
we
through
had
it.
never had, and it's not that this was a thing in our relationship. I'd never really had a feeling. There were little things along the way that I kind of pushed down, but it's not like I had girls DMing me all the time. Oh, I was with your man, you know, and I truly trusted him so much. I mean, by this point, when I'm finding all of this out, we already like have an apartment together. Like we already like do everything together. We already were like making plans to move to LA together. Like, so it's, you know, I'm like, he wouldn't be doing all of this if he wasn't into it.
Yeah, you're kind of trying to rationalize.
Yeah,
which makes sense. I've been there.
Yeah,
you know, when I found out, like, you know, this is a long time ago that I was being cheated on, and her friend.
I get it. Listen, Ravens, what she's saying is that she was a little bit naive, you know, because she hadn't really experienced something like this. And again, it's why I said, listen, some of us have got. Do you know what? I'll give her grace. We've all of us have had to go through a little, you know, a little heartbreak. You know, a little heartbreak ain't bad for the soul. I'll tell you that now. You gain experience. A little heartbreak ain't hard for the soul. You know, at this point. So, you know, let's be real. It's problematic at this point. You know, a little heartbreak will be good for you. Yeah, Susanna said they weren't fully official at that point, and that's precisely why they didn't need to be together. If I'm not official with you, but you out here sending the same messages to people, I don't need to be there. But of course, that's when the girl came out with all the stuff that she came up with. You know, like. Yeah, you know, it's unfortunate, you know, we've all been there before, you know, we've all kind of we've seen it, but we wanted to ignore it. You know what I mean? We have willful ignorance, you know, or sometimes, you know what, you can't piece it necessarily together because you don't have the necessary experience in the bank to fully decode and decipher what you're actually seeing. So you're seeing something, but you're not really sure, you know, exactly what you're looking at. And then you don't necessarily want to believe it because, like she said, at this point, you know, we're sorting things out. We're thinking about moving in together. All that kind of stuff is moving in. So I get it.
And my best friend's, you know, girlfriend at the time, and she's also a friend, was just like, you know, she's cheating on you. And I was just like, you know, like you're inclined, like when you're in a relationship and you decide, we trust each other, like, yeah, you think this is the time I'm supposed to have the back of the person I say I love, and I'm going to defend their honor. I'm going to defend their character. And sometimes those people use that against you.
Yes, totally. And also I was telling myself, okay, these messages were from March. By this time, it's almost Thanksgiving. It's a few days before Thanksgiving. I'm like, okay, you know, our relationship had honestly progressed so much since. I know, but again, see, I still tell myself things, but we were in a far different place by the time it was November. And that
makes.
See, she said when she got these messages, they are in October. This is why I said that accountability is important. None of this. Accountability is important. This is why I said that. Because when you hear what she said, look, by October time, we're in a completely different place. So when these messages come through, I'm thinking that's a March time. It's now October. There is no smoke without fire. There's no smoke without fire. Darling, if I find that message, my trust for you is giza. Because you know what, and again, I have the experience, I've been through things, so I kind of know. But that's why I'm saying about taking account. Everyone has to take accountability, because even if you didn't know, now you know what I mean. Like, it's a lesson. You missed the flag. We can't just blame. And I'm saying SK is absolutely wrong for what he did. But what we're saying is this now is part of what we're saying about now open your eyes and see. And everybody else who hasn't been through it can learn from her mistakes. Because when you saw the smoke, did you not think there was fire? Do you see what I'm saying? If there was smoke, did you not think there was fire? But she knew there was fire, but didn't want to go and uncover the fire because they had progressed in the relationship so far, right? And again, it's a misdemeanor. It's an infraction. It's not necessarily something major. The girl didn't say they slept together. The girl just said it was a hinge thing. But at that point, investigations now got to get done. I'm sorry. Investigations now got to get done. Okay.
Sense.
You know, we
it
had
makes sense.
grown
You
a
think about
lot.
the progress you made and how
Mhm.
far you've come, and then you're just like, well, we met on a show, and that's fucked up, and like, I get it. You try to find ways to like give them grace.
Yes.
And benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Benefit of the doubt, because it never happened before. So I'm like, okay, this was in March. Now it's the end of November. You know, I'm gonna ride for you, and that was the conversation. That those first 3 days until the next one dropped.
And then what happened?
And then it just kept bomb.
Damn. You know what? At this point, we're gonna let him get his coins. Okay. At this point, let him get the coins, because you know what? Frick it. All right, let him get the coins. All right, but listen, when you see the smoke, guys, what do you say? Type in the chat. When you see the smoke, there is what? There is fire. When you see there is smoke, you say there's what? There is fire. There's fire. You understand? Yeah. When you see the smoke, there's fire, baby. It's back.
Thing. I mean, of course it was a little, but she was under the guise, like, she felt like since the first girl did it, like, she felt more inclined, you know, to come out with her truth, which God bless, because I would have never known. But yeah, by the time the second girl came out on TikTok, he was already back home. So we were together at this point physically, at our apartment in Dallas. And again, we're just sitting in our kitchen and both of our phones start going crazy. We watched the video.
You watched it together.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we watched it together.
Damn.
Wow. And then, like, what was your reaction? Like,
Silence.
who spoke? Do you remember who spoke first?
Probably me. Silence. Because he does that thing where he's got to go ghost for a little bit and get the lies together. So I don't know why I do this thing, or I did do this thing where anytime I get upset, I'd like go in my closet and like close the door. Like, you know, you got to go in a small
I've
space.
done that before. It's helpful.
It's helpful. You got to go in a small dark space and cry. And so he always comes to my closet with me, and we lay on the floor, and it just feels more, I don't know. And
That motherfucker, because like he that's your safe space.
Yeah.
And then I can picture it. He gets in there,
Oh,
and he cuddles up, and he tells you it's okay. And then you're probably thinking like, well, this feels right and normal.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, as a dark artist, you got to do what you got to do. I personally wouldn't enter your space to do that. But when you come out of that space, I'm probably going to, if I was on that dark art stuff, yeah, I'm going to hug you. Yeah, I'm going to whisper in your ear. Yeah, I'm going to tell you I love you, and don't worry about that. This is too much for me. I'm going to be honest with you. My dark art days, this is too much for me. Okay? This is too much for me. I was trying to get equal, not necessarily trying to do you over completely. And this is too much for me. You know, I'm not trying to cheat and all that kind of, I mean, I have cheated in the past, of course, but like, you know, I mean, I wasn't trying to get caught. This is my thing, you know? And I didn't, you know, apart from one time, but you know, just, you know, yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, it's tight at the moment, you know, it's tight, you know, I just, let's listen a bit more.
Yeah. And I mean, that one was far more damaging.
And what was his excuse then?
So that one, this was a girl he had quite a long past with. So he was able to use that to his advantage, because a lot of the stuff she put in there was from like 2018, 2019, right? And so I'm like, okay, you know, that had nothing to do with me.
And you guys had filmed, and obviously there's gaps between when things are filmed and when things are aired.
Yeah. And even part of it was that right after filming, like I said, we were not a thing. And immediately within maybe maybe a week tops, he went to Europe right after we wrapped, right after our wedding. He went to Europe, and I knew we were still cool. Like, we still talked every day, but not on a relationship. And this is
okay. So they weren't in a relationship. So when the Europe thing happens, okay. So there was a picture that was dropped by Hannah. Hannah dropped a picture saying about, you know, they went to Europe, and you know, there's a photo. I did a video on this anyway, and there's a photo of them in Europe, and he's hugging her. But at that point, they were not together. This is the biggest. You know what? I have to commend SK as a dark artist, former dark artist. This guy mixes things in so that it's almost indistinguishable. It's a very deadly, sweet but dangerous, you know, concoction he brings to the table. You know what I mean? Because at this point, when that second girl's coming out saying what she's saying, they're not together, right? You know, they're not together. And so at this particular point, when he goes to Europe, she can't hold him to nothing because they're not actually together. They've wrapped up the show, but he's going to Europe a week later and they're not together. So she can't hold him on that one. Okay, I see what she did. Okay.
Is mid-July 2021. So this is way before everything that we've been talking about. Like mid-July, he goes to Europe. He tells me it's with friends. This was really the hurtful part of this part of it was he invites me to Europe with them. He's like, come please. And I'm like, you know, we've been filming so much. I need to get back to work. Like, I just have to go to work. So I don't go to Europe. Come to find out, he took her. And
do you think he knew you were too busy to say yes?
Yes, 100%.
But wait, you weren't together though. Can I just be fair? You weren't together. Just you know, I get it. But at that, and that's why I said he's so dangerous. At that point, y'all went together. And this is why I keep saying, people, situationships, we don't want them. We don't want them because now there's so much confusion. I'm not even sure what's going on right now. You know? You get me? You do. At that point, we're not together. I invite you. Don't want to come. I'm gonna choose another girl. That is what it is. Okay, I'm gonna go with another girl. Okay, you know when you book a lovely hotel and you know you got to. I'm gonna book it. If you don't want to come, there's another girl that wants to come. He wants to be flew out. I will fly her out, and we're not together. But you're right. He should have been upfront about it. That's the reality. He should have been upfront about it. But the thing is, at that point, they're not together. Yes, he's leaving here with something, Trey. Absolutely. Let's put that video there because he said, I'm going on holiday, but I'm leaving here with something because I can't go on holiday by myself.
Like, I'm leaving here with something. You know what I mean? I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.
Okay? He said he's leaving here with something. Okay? But at this point, the problem is they're not together. They're seeing where things go, but they're not together. And that's why I said about him taking advantage of these things and meshing it into the madness. This is why Raven couldn't see what was going on. Because there was no clear-cut lines between what was going on. Because they're not clear-cut lines what's going on, they're in, they're out, they're in, they're out at points. It's making it very hazy. So that's the problem. You know what I mean? That's why she got tricked. But he too is moving mad. I'm not letting him off the hook, by the way. Just saying that I can see where he's been a villain and where he's played he's made sure there's gray areas. You know, I don't like gray areas, guys. Let's go.
I think he just invited me just to invite me, but he knew I wasn't gonna go. Because literally he invited me and the trip was like 3 days later. Like who can I can't do that.
Sir. Okay, so literally 3 days later, the trip would have been. I mean, you know, I don't know. It's a bit weird. I don't know because I'm like, okay, so yes, he may have invited you knowing that you weren't going to be able to come because you had work. But if the trip was 3 days later, not the same day, there's still some time. You know, and didn't the other girl say he invited her like 2 days in advance? Yeah, if it's 2 days in advance, that means he asked the girl after. If it's 2 days in advance, that means he asked to go after, which means he actually invited Raven first. And then when he couldn't get it, he said, I'm leaving here with something. I'm gonna leave here with something. Okay. All right. I'm gonna leave here with something. And this is true. I learned IT, and that's why I said the red flags, because he ditched you at the altar with some bullcrap thingy about not being ready. Rah, 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 rah. We are not about to go forward. Okay. We ain't about to go forward. Okay. I always said this. Once you progress to the part where you're engaged and want to marry, there's no de-escalation. I'm so sorry. We can't de-escalate. De-escalate, we're done. You de-escalate, we are done. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going back. I'm not going anyway. I'm only going forward. You understand? Yeah? All right, cool. Let's bring it back. Was she in work, or was she? I thought she ran her own business. Or was she in work then? She's got her own job. I thought she had her own business. My bad. She's working. You know, so yeah, that's fair. You know, probably knew that. Oh, sorry, the sound.
Yeah. And isn't it funny that he was always like, I love Raven because she's so smart. I'm like, because you're smarter than me. No, just kidding. But yeah.
No, I'm so disappointed in the guy. I liked him so much when I watched the show.
I feel like we talk a lot about whether they end up being true or they're not. Like these kind of TikToks have become more of a common thing of let me expose this person, or here are the receipts, whether it's Love is Blind, whether it's Bachelor. And I think something we talk a lot about is why didn't they just DM someone privately? Like the Susie and Clayton. Why didn't she just reach out to Susie? Why did she have to get her 15 minutes? But you also said, you know, God bless her for posting this because that's the only reason I knew. But do you wish she would have just addressed you individually?
100%, because the outcome would have been the same. If she would have sent me these receipts myself, I would have still broken up with him.
Yeah, because you're right, because I remember watching that video, and I'm, you know, in some ways I think find myself protective of my reality TV peers, right? Because there are a lot of clout chasers out there, and people who come out with stories that have a wrinkle of truth, but not. And I remember seeing that video. It looked like someone
clout chasing
who very much wanted attention, and so they almost like. And two things can be true at the same time. You know, her story can be true and she could have wanted clout, but the part of you that wanted to believe SK, I'm assuming over kind of emphasized the clout aspect of it as opposed to what parts of her story were true.
Yeah. And also I think what worked to his benefit was that when she released this, or come to find out right before, I didn't know this, but right before she released this, they were talking. The two of them were texting back and forth, and she said, I want to meet with you, blah, 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 because she lives in Dallas as well.
So do you guys think that she would have believed? Do you think if someone sends a DM to your girl, do you think she would have believed it? Do you think Raven would have believed it? If the girl has sent her a DM, do you think she would have believed it? I mean, what was her name? Johnny's ex-wife, the one that had Zach, on Married at First Sight. She believed the DM, but she kind of left it. She kind of didn't do anything actually at first saying that. Do you think she would have believed it? Yeah. Do you think she would have believed it? You know, I don't think Raven would have addressed it. I think that's the reality of it. Raven would have come on and did an interview and addressed it had the girls not come publicly. You know, would they have even got through? You know what I mean? Would their DMs even have got through? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, what kind of profile, what kind of a following do they have that their DM will get through? Would their DM get through? So it's even that as well. That's another thing as well. You know, do they have the leverage to get a message through? I messaged all these people. Raven and them, I messaged them when they had 2,000 followers. I messaged all of them. All of that cast this season, I messaged all of them and say, hey, I would love to have an interview with you and da-da-da. Not one of them got back to me. Not one of them got back to me. Do you understand? I messaged them all on Instagram when they had less. Some of them had 1,000. Some of them had less than 1,000. Not one of them actually returned a thing back to me. And none of them were even seen. So I had to, you know what? Sometimes it has to be done. Sometimes it has to be done because you might never have heard it and seen it. You know what I mean? You might never have heard it and seen it. I messaged Raven. I messaged her. Bartiz messaged her. SK messaged them. I messaged all of them when they had 2,000, 1,000 followers, when they were low, and not one of them saw the actual message. There's no way. You wouldn't have seen it. All right? They wouldn't have seen it. You know what I mean? No, this is before any of this stuff happened. At the very beginning of the season, when the show started, I messaged all of them before they blew up. Messaged every single one of them. DM'd them. Not one of them saw it. So there's no way that when you have now 100K subs, 100K followers on Instagram, it's going to be very hard for that message that's going to go into request for you to see it. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be very, very hard. So I get it. When you know what I mean? Like, the girl probably thought to herself, you might not see it.
I want to meet with you, XYZ, and he wouldn't meet with her. And then I guess she ghosted, posted it, texted him back, and was like, I'll take it down if you give me 300K.
So she tried to extort him.
Yeah. Yeah. At least that's what he told me.
Which,
yeah,
who knows?
Yeah.
How did you find out he took her to Europe?
The pictures.
Oh, picture.
So wait. Wait. The girl tried to extort him for 300K, but then again, that was what SK said. So she never actually saw no message. I don't know if I believe SK in this instance, you know. I don't know if I believe SK in this instance, but for 300K, she said, the other girl would take it down. The girl wouldn't say anything. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know it was literally a week after the show wrapped, but the part that hurt me was that he told me stories about it, right? That you invited me and that you told me it was a group trip, blah, blah, blah. Come to find out, after Europe, they extended their trip, stayed together in London a bunch of times.
Was he not reaching out to you while he was in Europe?
Yeah, he was. He's really good at that. Yeah, he was.
What was he doing? Like FaceTiming you? And
it's like watching a good movie and they keep going on to the adverts.
Choose heating.
Then get his coins. So at this point in time, at this point in time, they are. She's saying, "Oh, this happened." It's all. I don't know. I think because I'm trying to think, because the timeline is being done backwards almost in a sense, and there's some different times. It's hard to kind of keep up with everything that's actually happening in terms of where they were in a relationship basis. You know what I mean?
I don't think we FaceTimed while he was there, but yeah, we were texting. Again, this is while we weren't together, so it was not cheating. But it was
right
lying.
Okay.
It was
shady
lying.
as shit, but
It's
not
shady as
technically.
shit.
Technically, yeah.
See, again, so they weren't together at this point either. So when he's been exposed, it's very much like I said when I did my video originally. When he's getting exposed, they weren't together. And this is why I keep saying this whole shenanigan when you guys not together. So listen, look, they weren't together once more again. So at this point, when this girl is exposing him again, once again, they're still not together. So him going to London, spending time with a girl, even having sex with another girl, it don't really matter because they're not together. He can't be held for it. This is why she couldn't pin him down. You know?
To me, it was hurtful. It's like by that time we were already like so, and even though we didn't get married, we weren't together, like we were so close. You can tell me the truth. He could tell me anything. Like we told each other everything. So just tell me like, hey, my ex is about to come on this trip. And I'll say, okay, like, I would literally say, thanks for letting me know. Instead of over a year later, like learning about it on TikTok.
You're in the closet. He comes in, violates your sanctuary. What was his news story now?
Yeah. So his story about the first video from this specific girl was that it was mostly pictures from 2018, that it wasn't cheating because when he took her to Europe, it was right after the show wrapped. That was his thing. And those were all understandable. My issue was that he lied about how she actually got there. She also...
Okay, so wait, pause. Okay, so at this conjuncture, I think they're together, right? At this conjuncture, they're together, but the TikToks are coming out about the situations that happened previously, okay? So at this point, she's seeing all the stuff and he's trying to spin it like, oh no, look, we weren't together kind of thing. So, and then the blurred lines are happening.
So in that TikTok, put a lot of their text messages that were a lot more recent. They had basically still been in communication this whole time.
Yeah. Have you ever spoken with her directly?
No, I've never spoken to this girl. I've never seen her. She's never reached out to me, but her best friends actually, once she released this.
Okay, pause. Okay. Hold on. What is going on here, kids? Hold on.
Communication this whole time.
Yeah. Have you ever spoken with her directly?
No, I've never spoken to this girl. I've never seen her. She's never reached out to me, but her best friends actually, once she released a second video, which we haven't talked about, but
hold
her
on,
best
guys.
friends actually called me.
You're in the closet. He comes in, violates your sanctuary. What was his news story now?
Yeah, so his story about the first video from this specific girl was that it was mostly pictures from 2018, that it wasn't cheating because when he took her to Europe, it was right after the show wrapped. That was his thing, and those were all understandable. My issue was that he lied about how she actually got there. She also, in that TikTok, put a lot of their text messages that were a lot more recent. They had basically still been in communication this whole time.
Okay, so at this particular point in juncture, they are still communicating. So at the time when she finds the TikToks, they've been communicating. Do you see what I'm saying? It's long. I'm not on this thing. Do you see what I'm saying? The red flags are blaring. It wasn't me. You know what I mean? The red flags are blaring. This is why I said the red flags are obvious. Because at this point in conjunction now, right, the red flags are burning. You know? But I want to make sure I got the timelines right, because the red flags might have been a little bit later than I actually think it is. But you know, they were still in communication at the point. So whatever he's saying, it makes no difference because they're still communicating. The person who, like, it's like you cheat. Like, it's like, okay, no, you're not you cheating because you didn't cheat, but it's more like you not tell me the truth about some girl that you dealt with or some guy that you dealt with, whatever. And then later on, I find out you're still actually talking to that person during our relationship. Yeah, you got to go. You got to pack your bags and go, because you don't need to be here. Clearly.
Yeah.
Have you ever spoken with her directly?
No, I've never spoken to this girl. I've never seen her. She's never reached out to me, but her best friends actually, once she released a second video, which we haven't talked about, but her best friends actually called me one.
And here's my thing. Why didn't she ever reach out to Raven? Why didn't this girl ever reach out to me? That's why we said she was a clout chaser. Oh, why didn't you reach out to Raven? Why didn't you? Because you didn't care about Raven. It was about you and how you felt. You didn't care about Raven. A bugaboo.
Night.
Really?
Yeah. While I was home with SK, they called me. It's another couple. They were basically like, "We're so sorry this is happening to you." You know, they actually told me like some crazy stuff, that this girl was like trying to come take my Pilates classes, like weird stuff. Yeah. So at that
Did
point,
they kind of like what was their energy? Was it kind of warning you about her and him?
No, their energy was warning me about her. Yeah,
Right.
and saying like, we just want to let you know, like,
You're kind of being stalked almost.
Yeah, you're kind of being stalked. Like, she's like obsessed with you as well. We know SK messed up. Like, please take him back. She's trying to portray that they were together. They really weren't together. It was more of just a sneaky link.
These are her friends?
Her best friend and her boyfriend.
Why is her best friend and the boyfriend telling her this and then saying get back with SK? I guess obviously they don't know the full story of SK, but I'm confused. What? Why? You know, when it doesn't start to make sense, it means that there are some parts in there that you're not telling us the full truth. No offense to Raven. Yeah. But when it doesn't make sense, it means there's parts of it that's not true. There's parts of it that you're not really telling us. There's parts that maybe you did some things in between that you don't want to feel embarrassed about, so you're not telling us the full story because it's not making sense. Why is the best friend and the boyfriend reaching out to you of the girl that's trying to expose you? I don't get that.
Well, why would?
Oh, let him get his coin. Let him get his coin. Right. So that means there's stuff that's happening that I don't think Raven has fully disclosed because it doesn't make sense, and it's a skip. So I'm not saying that she hasn't told a full story, but she hasn't told a full story. But it feels like there's some bits that are a little bit missing in there that we need to just kind of understand. Do you know what I mean?
That for SK.
How do you know that they were really her friends?
Well, because I only know. I mean,
Like, what are the chances SK hired a couple actors or some shit. I don't know.
No,
Like,
yeah. So basically,
I don't know what he's capable of at this point.
yeah, no, they were. There's pictures of all of them
Okay.
together because in her second video that she posts days later, the 4 of them, SK and the girl and that couple that I'm talking about that called me, they went to Cabo in May. This is way after. They went to Cabo in May.
At that point, are you guys together?
At that point, we are together. I mean, I think him and I would both agree. We were pretty much solid by my birthday, which was in April. He knew my intentions. I was not interested in dating anyone else. We were very close at this point.
No. Were you together or not? I don't need the whole listen. He knew my intentions. Were you together or not? This is why he gets taken advantage, because it's like we keep dangling in this gray area. Were you together or not? Is a yes, we were together. But he kind of knew my intentions by that point. F-boy's dream. An F-boy's dream. An F-boy like SK, who seems to be, seasoned in this game, that is beautiful. For someone like SK, this is that gray area where you guys are, pretty much pretty much.
When I'd already gone to San Francisco multiple times. So when she came with the second video in Cabo, it turns out that they had all gone on a couples trip. And this was actually a week after him and I went on my birthday trip to New Orleans, which is where I'm from. And we stayed with my mom. And it was, I told him how important this was to me. This isn't something that I normally do. I'm trying to show you I'm really ready to do it right outside of Love is Blind. And then literally the next weekend, went to Cabo with her, told me he was in school the whole time. I was texting him. We were talking like normal. And he was really in Mexico with her.
How did you find out about that?
So before.
So obviously, okay, so let's just piece together. So, so they went to New Orleans, okay, and went to visit her family, and had conversations, with her family, etc., right? But have you noticed he still hasn't said we is together at this point? Which means they were working towards there, but weren't actually there. Now, I'm still going to put the onus on him because he knew exactly what she was aiming towards and took advantage of the fact that it wasn't defined. Right? He knew exactly where it was going, but he took advantage of the fact that it wasn't defined. So again, he'll be like, well, I didn't cheat because once again, it wasn't defined. If I ain't tell you we're together, we ain't together. But then the next week to go to a trip on a couple's trip with the other girl, to go on to a trip with the other girl on a couple's retreat, sir. Now you out here messing up.
That video came out after the first one had come out. There was I don't know exactly how long, but less than a week, I think. It would be less than a week between her 2 videos. So once the first one dropped of hers, which is the second video, because the first girl was a different girl, I kept saying, tell me everything right now and it'll be fine. Just tell me, right? Wipe this slate clean and I'll ride for you because at least I'll know. And he kept saying, nothing. You have nothing to worry about. You have nothing to worry about. And then one night, at this point,
Now, here's my question. Why would she ride for him? Why would she ride for him knowing that he was moving mad? Why would she want to ride for him? Why would she want to ride for him knowing that he's moving very mad? Tell me everything and I'll ride for you. Why would you want to ride for him when you can see that he's taken advantage of the spots where you can see that you're not together, but you're making yourself together, but he's taking advantage of those moments. I know you wanted the truth, and let me tell you something. The truth is absolutely important because without the truth, it destroys your reality. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm just saying that tell me the truth and everything will be okay. If that's your, when you make those things, I'm challenging the mindset. Why is the mindset that way? Why is your brain thinking that way? Why is your heart thinking that way? Okay. And that's what I'm saying about the reason why and I'm not saying that even that he played her, she played herself, because why is she staying in this situation when information keeps coming up at this particular conjunction, you know? Okay, let me turn my light on, but go for it.
I'm an emotional person, but like I was crying on the floor. Like I'm not like that, you know? And one night it had been a long, very emotional day for both of us. And we were in bed at like past midnight just talking. And he was like, I have to tell you something. And I was like, nothing could be worse than this.
Did your heart just drop at that point?
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't even know what to expect at this point in my life. Like I was like, I feel like my life is crumbling before my eyes.
Don't we just like wish in general people would stop like prefacing bad news? It's like, hey, don't panic, or I need to tell you something. It's just like, just
don't be mad.
Don't be mad.
Don't
be
mad.
You know, just fucking just say
Never
it.
has someone been less mad because you prefaced it with,
you
don't
just
be
stole
mad.
2 seconds of happiness from me that I could have had back before you just, because it's either going to be as bad as you thought, or not as bad.
You're gonna have a heart attack for no reason.
Yeah.
And also the worst is when they're like, if I tell you, do you promise not to be mad at me? That is like the most manipulative. Sorry, but going back to like, he says,
we're just like ranting about it.
I just like, fuck this guy.
Just say it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So anyway, so you're in bed and he's like, I gotta tell you something.
Yeah, we're in bed and I remember he was like laying on the headboard and I was like kind of by his feet. And I sat up and I was like, just say it. And he was like, I took her to Cabo. And I said, what are you talking about? He was like, I told you I was at school. It was in May, but I wasn't at school. I was in Cabo with her on a couple's trip. And my heart just sank. And I made him tell me when. It was literally a week after we had come back from New Orleans.
Oh, God.
That point was like the first time when I started using the words like, we're about to be done. Like, you're pushing it way past my limit because this is a bold-faced lie. And you knew we were together at that point. You can't argue it. At this point in May, we had gone back and forth to see each other every month. Like we were together at this point.
No, you weren't together, Raven. I don't think she was together, because once again, she's not told us they were together. Once again, she hasn't told us they were together. She assumed they were together because they went to see your mama. And let me tell you something. Man, them take girls to see their mama and don't say you're together. You know? Like, baby, have you noticed that she still can't say we were actually together? She goes, but you knew we were together. Why? Because we went to see your mama. But what does that mean? What does that mean? You know, listen, and I'm saying it again, she's not wrong, but what I'm saying is, in the game of arts, it has to be defined. I told you guys this, I tell you ladies this all the time, and you guys know, if you've been on my channel for a long time, we talk about dark arts. This is about dark arts. It has to be defined. You have to speak the words from your mouth and say, I want a relationship, because out of the mouth is the contract. That's verbal. Then you can hold them accountable to what they've said. This is why a lot of men don't say anything and they play in the areas of the gray. And without him saying anything, he went along with her. He went to his mama's house, and you assume, oh, we're together now. That's why I think she stayed even longer, because even after this, she wasn't fully done. Let's just see.
We were already planning our couples trip, which was in June, with the 2 other couples from the show. And it's funny because when we were on that trip in June, he told me, oh, I've never been to Mexico before. And so now we know, girl, I was sick. I was sick. I'm like, why? Here I am, like in Tulum, like, baby, look at Mexico.
Isn't Mexico great?
Don't you love it?
Don't you love it?
How can I be eating chips and the advert comes up with a bag of chips? I'm eating plantain chips and chips comes up as an advert. I need you to stop listening to me, YouTube. I need you to stop listening to me. I need you to stop listening to me. How did you even know? I didn't even say I'm eating chips. I didn't even say that. I just literally picked up the packet and started eating. I need you to stop watching me and I need you to stop listening to me. Okay? Because I didn't even tell you I was eating chips. So why are you now showing me chips as an advert? I don't get it. I need to stop watching me. And in fact, if you are watching me, do you know Jesus? Do you know Jesus? Because if you do, I need you to find your Bible, open it up to Revelations. In there somewhere, Revelations 13, find yourself there. Okay, let me just watch him be. I'm eating my plantain. I did it in silence. I did it in silence. I didn't even say it out loud. I didn't even say what I was doing.
I had no clue. I had no clue. Like literally the month before he was there with her. So that was really, really hard. Like that was the first. I remember that was the first night. I was like, okay, like look, I don't know what's about to happen, but I'm done with you. And this was before the video had dropped with the Cabo stuff. And I'm like, you better just pray she doesn't post this. Like, because that's gonna kill me even more and we're definitely gonna be done.
So for the people out there who are just listening to this and saying, Raven, girl,
I know.
like, why weren't you done already?
Yeah.
Like, what would you say to that?
Yeah, I would say to that again, when you trust someone and what you guys saw on TV was the person that I felt I was with, right? Someone who's so intelligent and kind and attentive to me and my best friend and in love. Like you keep, like you were saying earlier, you keep telling yourself, well, that's the person that I'm with. And at this point, there was so much evidence that before the Cabo thing dropped, there was so much evidence that this was a lot of old stuff. And yeah, he had lied about the old stuff. He hadn't told the whole truth, but there wasn't a lot of actions yet.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Until more of those actions started coming out, that's when I was like, okay, it's the real deal. But I'm not giving myself excuses, but I think a lot of women go through this.
Sure. I went
People.
through that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I said it almost sounded like you, and I think again, people can relate to this, but you prioritize the way in which he, made you feel happy. And
yeah, stop coddling her. I need her to come to accountability. Because even now, and this is what I keep saying it. Listen, look, you're going to keep getting played until you start being accountable. Because all this, I didn't, I know other women out there, like, don't worry about what other women are going through, bro. When you look back at your situation, can you see where you could have improved? Because all I'm hearing is excuses, and I don't want to hear that. I want to hear, listen, when I look back on it, do you know what? SK played me, but when I look back at it, there were certain things that I should have done. I should have looked at this. That's what I want to hear. Now, she does say that a little bit later on. She does say that later on. She does. But I want you not to be embarrassed about the fact you got played. Listen, let me tell you a story. One day, let me tell you something that happened to me. One day, in September 2015, okay, I was having a great month, okay? August time, I got a bonus, an extra £300, and I was working for Barclays at the time, okay? Extra £300. And when I got the bonus and I got my paycheck that month, I was roaming through my town that I was working in, right? And I met this Irish guy. Met an Irish guy, all right? And the Irish guy was like, listen, do you want to buy a phone? And I said, no, I'm not really trying to buy a phone. He said, no, you want to buy a phone? And he said, what phone is it? He said, it's a Samsung. At this time, it was an S5 or something, right? And you know what? I was like, all right, cool, let's buy it. He showed me the phone. It looked real. Everything, right? But I said to him, no, let's go and check it at O2 first. I want to make sure first it's a genuine phone. He said, no, I don't want to go there because, the phone is like, I don't want to go there. Whatever excuse he used. And then I said, no, let's go check. He said, no. He said, well, if you don't want a phone, then you don't want a phone, innit? Right? And then I was like, okay, cool. Hey, you know what? Let me just buy the phone. That phone was £125. Okay? All right? £125. Now, when I got home, that phone was a Chinese phone and it blew up. Okay? Now, I could get angry and say he conned me and say, do you know what? The con people shouldn't exist in this world, and and I can tell the story like I'm a damn victim, or I can actually be honest with myself and say, actually, do you know what the reality is? Yes, he should have never conned me. But two, what were the things that I need to improve on next time? Oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't buy a phone. I shouldn't buy a phone from somebody in the middle of the street. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Number two, I had a gut instinct that this might not have been correct, and I should have listened to the gut instinct and gone to the shop to test it to make sure. I didn't do that. I missed the quality control. So when you look at these issues, I can easily blame him. And listen, if the reality is he can go to prison for conning me, it's false advertisement, he could. But the reality is, here is the thing. He's gone. I ain't going to catch him. And number two, I'm still left with £125 left out my pocket. Number 3, have I learnt my lesson? Because I don't want to be conned again. Have I learnt my lesson? What were the things that I missed upon? When I look back at the situation, what are the things that I missed? What are the things I didn't do very well? What are the things that I look at and go, yeah, he conned me, but you know what? If I look back, I knew I should have done it. And she does do this a little bit later on. Let me not pull it down like that. I'm just saying she does this a little bit on. So, but I just don't want to. I'm hearing her making a little bit of excuse, and I'm like, sis, we don't need to. We're not trying to be hard on you. We're gonna even be softer on you when you are admitting that, you know what, I see the red flags. Probably Jala. That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a really good point. And that's what I'm trying to get at. There is something deep within Raven as to why she stayed in the situation that she did, in the way that she handled it, the way she handled it. There is something that Raven hasn't told us about her family and the way they interact that is the missing link as to why she's behaving the way she's behaving. I'm telling you, you're on the money there.
And deprioritize the ways he kind of disappointed you or made you sad.
Yes, totally. And I think at a lot of points in our relationship, there were so many times where I was, and I don't know another word, but I was so confused because my intention and my actions were so aligned with how I felt. Like, I was all in. I want to marry this person. Like, I'm so loyal. I want to serve him. I want to make sure, he's comfortable in a safe space, that we're like in a great partnership together. And sometimes I would confuse because I thought he was on the same page as me, but then he would act differently. So constantly we would get, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like I was thinking one thing, but then something else was before my eyes, and it would make me so confused. And then I realized, of course, after the fact, like, it's because he really wasn't.
Now, that is what I'm talking about. Do you see that? Do you see it? Did you hear what she said? Okay. What she said was, I saw things that were different to what I was feeling, but I decided to go against that. Remember, I told you about the willful ignorance of the red flag. That's exactly what I'm talking about. This is why I said she has to hold herself accountable. And yes, you can be young and naive and make stupid mistakes. My first girlfriend, I was young and naive. My second girlfriend, I might have been a little bit more naive. My third girlfriend, I still got some naivety. I'm trying to learn out. But each individual time, I have to take accountability. Every time the relationship broke down, I still have to be accountable as to why it broke down. I'm not about to blame them. I'm about to look at why it didn't work for me. Because at the end of the day, I'm only accountable for me. Right? So she was seeing things that were different to what she's feeling. And I said that, she learned a lesson.
There with me. We've talked about it after the fact, but he really wasn't putting in 100%, and I was.
You know, let him get his adverts in. Do you know what I mean? I keep saying it. Gotta let the brother get his adverts in, So the relationship, yeah. I was saying the relationship was in her head. Yes, she made more of the relationship than it actually was. She put parameters on the relationship that wasn't actually a relationship as such all the way through. She was seeing things where she wanted commitment, but he wasn't necessarily committing to her. Yeah. Okay.
In retrospect, because I think sometimes when you learn about this like earth-shattering truth and it kind of recontextualizes all of these details and all these experiences you shared, like kind of looking back on that, to what extent do you think people can try to avoid being cheated on? And to what extent it's like part of love is taking the leap of faith, giving them benefit of the doubt, not scrutinizing their every action, looking for the ways that they could be like this Machiavellian monster who's trying to hurt you?
I think that's a great question. And I think after going through this and after really looking back, I think you have to lead with vulnerability, of course, right? And that's something that this has really taught me, because I've never been someone like that. I'm like, you guys, I'm not like that anymore. Like, I am so ready to be vulnerable now, but also what this has taught me is that you've got to listen to your gut feeling. So if if you're suspecting something, it's probably because something's there, or if it's something small, like that just annoys you because of your past, that's different. But if you have a gut feeling, 9 times out of 10, it's for a reason.
Staying with this kind of thought, if you thought back in terms of these conversations, you're at the edge of the bed, he's, and you're kind of thinking about, these kind of reflections of not trusting your gut. You clearly asked him questions and you kind of pleaded with him to give you answers. Do you feel like there was a part of you, maybe it's ego, maybe it's just a fear of the truth or whatever it is. Do you feel like you stopped short of asking more follow-up questions? Because I think I remember, when I was in that position and confronting, I wanted to believe my girlfriend at the time when I heard she was cheating on me, but I still asked her about it. I wanted her to tell me it wasn't true. I wanted her to come up with an excuse that I could believe. And as soon as she came up with something that, whatever part of it was that wanted to believe her, I stopped asking questions. I was like, I didn't think to myself, I don't know if that makes sense, but what about this? And really asking those follow-up questions that are kind of hard to, unless you really have a very detailed lie, it's hard to kind of answer. Do you feel like you stopped short in those moments? Or if you look back, are there other questions that you wish you would have asked to maybe kind of find out whether he was really telling the truth or not?
I think for me, I was so just tell me everything, right now, and it'll be okay. Just tell me everything. Just tell me everything. And every time he wouldn't tell me everything. But I kept letting that slide because every time he'd tell me a little more. And then I'd say, just tell me everything right now and we'll be fine. We'll stay together. I promise. And he's.
Why would your mindset be, you find out a little bit more, and you're like, tell me everything, and you'd want to stay? Tell me, why would you want to stay when he keeps lying to save his face? Why would you want to stay? He keeps telling you a little bit more and more. Do you know what? This reminds me of one of my ex-girlfriends that did the same thing to me, where they just keep telling me more and more and more stuff they keep doing. And then I enter that relationship. I entered the relationship with that person. But why did I enter that relationship? Because my self-worth and value was underestimated and undervalued by myself, not them, me. So at this point, what she's talking about is herself. She hasn't defined who she be and what her value is. And that's why she's like, if you tell me everything, I'm going to stay. Because she would have stayed.
Still, every time a little bit more would come out. And I'm like, why did you need to keep going? I mean, at one point, it had been weeks and it was still happening. I was still begging, just be honest, just tell me. And he still wouldn't. And I'm like, why did I put myself through that? Because the first 2 days, you should have just already known. And if he wasn't willing to just completely just come clean, clearly he's not willing to be honest with himself or you. So that's kind of where I was. I kept just waiting for him to do the right thing.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
There was a time, right?
Again, did you notice she hasn't been able to answer the question? She's there, but she's not there yet. All right. She's unable to articulate the reason why she stayed. She's unable to articulate the reality of why she actually stayed. Because that's going to require some work. Because the answer is deep. It's embedded. It's, you know what I mean? The answer of why she would have stayed means unlocking and unearthing your past history as to why you thought this was okay for you. Why you thought that somebody who is not telling you the full truth, you would try to beg them to give you the truth so that you can even stay. There is something deeper with Raven that she needs to explore, that she needs to tap into so she can begin to actually do the work. Otherwise, this could show up later on in a relationship. Right? She could be saying this, CXM, she could be saying this just to get him to talk. But what I'm failing to hear after is, I just said this so that he can talk. She never says that. She never says that, you know what, I was just trying to get him to talk. She never says it. Every time she says it, she follows it up by I would have, so I can stay. She just wanted the absolute truth so she can deal with what she was dealing with. And this is where I'm thinking to myself, did the money play a part in this? This is where I'm thinking to myself, did the money play a part in this? Did the money play a part in this? And when I say the money play a part in this, not necessarily she's a gold digger, but does she like the fact that the financials were making sense? Because clearly it must have been, because he can pay for the apartment, go on holidays, travel from school back and forth. Take other, but she ain't messing with no broke. Just saying. All right. I'm not saying I ain't saying she a gold digger. I really don't think she's a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke. And I wonder if that's the part of the story too that she's not really expounding upon as to a reason why she stayed here. You know? Because if he was paying for her to come on a couple's trip, you know damn well sure he's paying for other things for her to do as well. When the money makes sense and the lies don't work, the money's gonna do what it's gotta do. It's gonna twerk. I'm telling you, it's gonna do what it's gotta do. So, you know, maybe that's what maybe also, you know, fuzzled and muzzled up the situation for her a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Maybe, you know.
When this is all going on, I don't know where you were, but I remember when seeing this, there were posts about lawyers. You know, oh, lawyers are involved. I even remember talking to one of your producers, and even the producer was telling me, you know, I don't know what's going on, but apparently they've gotten lawyers because, you know, what I understood it at the time was these allegations were all false, and SK was hiring a lawyer to go after the person making these accusations because it was, you know, defamation type of claims or things like that. Like, what was that all about?
Yeah.
I've never played golf before. My friend was like, you should give it a shot. And then out of nowhere, it just
I'm not even mad that he's got the advert. I'm mad because I was enjoying it. And I just started tuning into my plantain chips. That's the reason why I'm mad, really. Anyway, let's get back.
Extortion thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And then kind of the part that we haven't really touched on yet is while we're going through all this, there was like so much manipulation and gaslighting. He really was just worried about saving his career in his face, you know, and he wanted to get lawyers involved to like make people take these claims away so it wouldn't look bad for him.
What was he telling you about the lawyers?
Yeah, I was there at home listening to him and the lawyers on the phone all day, every day. And basically he was like, this is for my career. That's literally what he said the entire time. This is for my career.
Did him talking to these lawyers play a role in you believing him? Like,
probably, yeah.
Or wanting, you know, it's just like he's willing to fight
Yeah.
for his, you know.
But he wasn't fighting for me.
Yeah.
He was fighting literally.
Yeah.
I mean, like the hardest part of it was how he responded to all of this. Basically, by the end of it, I kept saying like, what do you want me to do? Like I want to help you. You know, I love you, but what do you want me to do? And basically his answer was for me to say that like we weren't dating the whole time to make these claims.
He asked you to lie for him.
Yes. And that was like just the most horrible thing for my life because I felt like you are so insistent upon saving yourself that you want to just make me disappear.
But you was going to do it though, weren't you, Raven? But you were going to do it though. See, I'm going to tell you something about Raven. Raven is ride or die. Raven is a ride or die type of chick. I can see it now. Raven is a ride or die chick because even how she's telling the story, how he said he wanted to lie to her, she's not saying that that is ridiculous. Because when she listens to the story, she even tries to you know, she thought about it. She's a ride or die. She'd rather die. She'd rather die. And that's the problem. When you ride or die, you guys know my motto. If you ride or die, you gonna ride and you gonna die. You ride or die, you gonna ride or die.
Because at the time, you were also facing criticism from fans about you kind of being in on it or a part of this, you know, some sort of plan to just, you know, get famous from the show.
Yeah.
And so he didn't seem to really care or empathize with that at all. He literally asked you to do what you were being accused of, and wasn't true at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a little bit at this time, especially the sentiment it seemed after our wedding episode was, a lot of people had started to like me a little bit more and started to they felt like I was being more genuine, I guess. And that's everyone has a character arc. But his whole thing was like, everyone loves you, you're everyone's favorite, and now everyone hates me. Can you please just say it wasn't true? So it'll save me a little bit. That's what was being pushed into my head every single day. And it was getting so confusing to the point I almost felt like, because by this point it was over a week probably. And I just felt like he was only staying in our apartment to make sure that I was doing things to play by his rules and make sure I wouldn't tell the truth.
And control you.
Yes. And it was getting to the point by the last few days, I literally would not even be at our house because I felt like I was being monitored. I was getting support on social media from people and of course there were a lot of critics, but I was getting support and he would send that to producers and be like, this is what people are saying to Raven. Don't let Raven post anything. You should tell Raven to take anything I would say. Whether anything I would say, he would ask for it to be taken down. He would try to report me to authorities. It was just, I was under such a microscope. But meanwhile, I'm I am grieving an entire loss in front of you. And you were just shoving, I just felt like I was just being shoved down. It was all about his reputation.
Yes. Now she looks back at it. It's all about his reputation, and this is the point, they had an apartment, together, and they were in the lease and that. Do you get me? Now I need to know, is the lease in her name, in their name? Is it her house or his house? Because when I listen to this, she tells him to get out their house. And I was confused because if we both have a lease on it, you ain't going to tell me to get out of my house. Do you get what I'm saying? So I was so confused by that. I was like, wait, is it our house or is it your house or is it his house? Which one is it? Because later on, she goes on to say to him, I'll get out of my house. And I'm like, sis, it's not your house because I think you both have a lease on this, right? So was she paying for the lease herself and she didn't even telling us? I don't think she would. I'm sure she would have told us if she was paying for the lease. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I want to know,
It's crazy. I literally, producers would call me and, just to check on me or at that point they were what is happening? And I'm like, he only cares about his reputation. It did not matter what I was going through.
Yeah. I also heard from producers, and maybe you can add some context to this, that he was it was kind of this three-way conversation. He was telling you one thing and then telling producers another thing, and then hoping that producers would tell you almost to get the producers to convince you of something. I don't know, but I heard that they kind of caught SK in a lie too, trying to almost manipulate, hoping that they would manipulate into believing certain things. Is there truth to that?
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, he would send the slightest little thing I would say on social media. He would not say anything to me, and then he would send it to them, and they would come back to me Raven, what did you do? Did you post something? And I'm like, no, I didn't say anything besides I responded to someone and said thank you. And then I'd go back to him and he'd be like, well, you're not supposed to comment on anything, analyzing my every action to see if it was against him. It was very much Operation Keep Raven Quiet from saying the truth.
The Versus Arthritis online community is a place made with.
I'm going to say this personally. You got to be very careful. I wouldn't advise moving in with somebody and not marrying them if marriage is on the cards for you. Just going to say that. I don't think that's a very smart thing to do, to move in with someone. If you want marriage, to move in with them, because this oftentimes creates the problems that don't lead to the marriage. You know what I mean? You're doing things before it's the order. Do you know what I mean? It's like having kids before marriage. It can get sticky. You know what I mean? So I would say they need to be, I would say anybody moving in, I hear it, I get it, I love that for you. But I would say if you got marriage on the cards and marriage is what you want to do, just be aware. You got to be very careful that the chances are you may not end up getting married by moving in together. Devale and Kadeen Alyssa's situation is a very rare one. Don't apply their relationship to yours, because he even said himself, I was living in a house with you, I was having sex with you, you know, you're my girl, why get married? What's the point? We as men don't see the need. If I'm having the whole cow and everything that comes with it, there ain't no reason why I need to be in it. Do you know what I mean? So if I haven't made you my wife, I probably would be holding off going to stay in someone's house. That's what I'm saying, with someone else as well. But you know, he too, you know, he knew exactly what he was doing, right? He's moved in with her, he's made her feel comfortable, he's shown her a bit of love, you know, he's done all that he can to make her feel safe and comfortable, and he's just ripped the rug from underneath her feet. You know, it's a madness at that point. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. Fair point.
Oh, so
Sorry,
when we
guys.
got the interview,
We didn't get to that part
we
yet.
didn't get to know that you.
I was under such a microscope, but meanwhile, I'm like, I am grieving an entire loss, like, in front of you, and you were just shoving, like, I just felt like I was just being shoved down. It was all about his reputation. It was crazy. Like, I literally, producers would call me and, you know, just to check on me, or like, you know, at that point they were like, you know, what is happening? And I'm like, he only cares about his reputation. Like, it did not matter what I was going through.
Yeah. I also heard from producers, and maybe you can add some context to this, that he was almost, it was like kind of this three-way conversation. He was telling you one thing and then telling producers another thing, and then and
on social media, he would not say anything to me, and then he would send it to them, and like they would come back to me like, Raven, what did you do? Like, did you post something? And I'm like, no, like, I didn't say anything besides I responded to someone and said thank you. And then I'd go back to him and he'd be like, well, you're not supposed to comment on anything, analyzing my every action to see if it was against him.
I'm behind.
You know,
Sorry.
it was very much Operation Keep Raven Quiet from saying the truth.
when did you realize this was going on? Because I guess the element of this, why did you say yes again, even if for a short period of time?
So everything that I'm just saying, we were already engaged at this point. Like,
you already re-engaged before all this.
Before all the cheating, yeah.
Oh.
So all of this is happening when we already have a lease together and we're already engaged again.
So when did you guys get engaged?
In August.
Isn't that around the same time when he and the girl were somewhat planning a trip, but then he bailed last minute because of school?
Oh, so when we got to interview,
we didn't get to that part.
We didn't get to know that you guys were engaged because of after it was.
You guys didn't know.
We weren't privy to that information.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
You guys didn't know that.
So he was planning a trip with this TikTok girl when he had a ring on her finger.
Yeah.
Oh, you were engaged.
We were literally engaged, and.
Oh. Hold on. So listen, that's madness, bro. So her brother obviously proposed to her whilst then out with the girl. Yeah, that's some fucking racist. You can't be engaging people and then thinking that you're single. That part ain't gonna work. Okay, that one, yes, that is a relationship. You can't say engagement and think it's gonna work. Now that part there, yeah, that's some efferys there. You know, that's some mad ones there. Let's listen a bit more though.
Well, that makes it so much. I mean, at that point, yeah. Then of course you want to fucking believe the guy.
I'm like, why would he get engaged to me again and do all of this? And literally text this girl like, just the skeeziest.
They were planning a trip,
and
then he pulled out just because of school.
But you know what he told me? He said, I didn't go because I realized it was wrong. I'm like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
That's interesting.
I said, well, why didn't you invite me? He said, well, it wasn't a trip you take your girl on. I'm like, then
you're
why?
cheating on her.
Why would you even go on a trip that you shouldn't take your girl on?
Was this the boat trip?
It was a couple. Was this the mega yacht trip?
Yeah.
To Miami.
It was literally like him and his buddies inviting girls to go on a boat. What was it, Miami or something?
Miami.
And then he pulled out because he said he had school.
And that was in September. And we were already engaged by then.
But is that a different trip than the couples trip?
Yes,
the
'cause
couples
that
trip was in May. We
Okay,
weren't
so-
engaged in May, but we were
Okay.
engaged in August, and he was
Fucking
still
couples trip. I feel like a couples trip
so
is weirdly
intimate.
more intimate
It's
than like
very
a one-on,
intimate.
right?
It's especially, I mean, what made me so sick about that is literally the weekend before, him and I had like the most intimate trip to my hometown. Took all of our couples pictures, right? Like, haha. The next weekend, he goes and takes couples pictures with this girl.
Yeah, that's because
kissing. They were kissing in these pictures. I'm like,
yeah, that's so much more intimate. I mean, Natalie and I recently, got engaged, and
But wait, I'm so confused. If they were kissing, okay, so she's talking about the May one where he went on a trip, the couples trip. If they were kissing, why did you go ahead with the relationship? That's the part I'm talking about. That's the part I'm talking about. Like if in May you got and then you found out before, because then you found out obviously the thingy, and you found out that in May that he was going on that trip, the couples trip, and there was kissing. Oh, baby, why did we go ahead? That's what I'm trying to say. I know you found out a little bit later, but I'm saying, why did you go ahead? Oh,
and after you reflect a little bit, and then I had this thought of like we had friends there who were couples, and like there's something about double dating with friends that like there's a bond there, and that fucking
because it's like an us thing.
Yeah,
like it's an us relationship.
Yes.
It's like the two of us have this connection.
And like
with
when you
another
make
us.
friends as a couple, it's
different.
It's different, and there's
And
something
feel
you're
like
doing together.
You're building something
Yes.
together.
Yeah, you're building your circle, your friends, and yeah. Well, I am so sorry you've had to deal with all this.
I know, right?
For a lot of people who get cheated on and go through what you've gone through, it can really affect them long term and their ability to trust in the future. I really try my best, and as someone who had been cheated on, I didn't want to be that person, so I had to work really hard at still choosing to trust my next partner. Where do you think you are in your ability to not let this experience, affect you when you start dating or meet someone else? Are you? I mean, what's your relationship status now?
Yeah. I'm definitely dating.
You're definitely dating. Okay. Is there a special someone? Maybe?
I think.
You think?
I think. I don't want to jinx it.
Let's just give. Let's just. We love that.
I know.
So
no,
how
like
Join the UK's number one
damn.
CFD broker.
So what do you say? I hope.
It's madness out in the dunya, guys. Okay.
old post-show thing, like I wanted to do that with SK. Like I wanted to go into this new part of our lives together. I was looking for we had already started looking at properties in LA to move once he graduates. Like I was so excited to start a new chapter, and I know that's not the chapter that I'm starting, but like
you did, and you fully understood the hurt he caused. He wouldn't have asked you to get back together. Right?
I think, I mean, and there's so much more to we haven't even touched on, but
what can we touch on it?
I mean, yeah, I think he just thinks that I'm gonna get over it, And
so he's still trying.
No, I mean, not since that conversation, because I told him I could even feel. So finally, it took him a while to leave our house, and that was extremely hard for me.
What do you mean it took him a while to leave your house?
Like when all of this was happening, he was on break from school, so we were literally living together. And I mean, when the second video dropped, technically the third video, but the second video from the second girl dropped, it had the Cabo stuff in it. And literally an hour before, I didn't know it was gonna come out. Okay, the night before he tells me about Cabo, right? Then it's like the next day in the afternoon, almost about 24 hours later, we're standing in the kitchen, and I'm like, show me your phone. This was the first time I said.
See what I was saying about the house thing? Whose house is it? Because I'll tell you this now, I might have cheated on you, but I ain't getting out my own damn house. Okay? I might have cheated on you, but I ain't coming out my goddamn house. Okay? So like, when you're telling me to get out of my house, I'm like, baby, we both pay the bills here, and my name is on the lease too. So what you mean your house? Our house. You understand? That's why I was like confused by that, but we'll see what she says. I want to watch it a second time.
Show me the phone right now. Have you been talking to her while we've been going through this? And he's like, no, I haven't been talking. I said, okay, show me the phone. He shows me the phone, and that's when I find out about Miami. He had still never told me about Miami. I start scrolling through the messages, and I see it. And I said, September? We were already engaged by this point. I didn't go. I said, I don't care. I said, first of all, we're done here. And if she puts this on the internet, it will literally break my heart. Like, because I can't go through anything else. Like, we're done. You need to leave the house. Like, I'm over it. And he's like, oh, whatever. I get really upset again because this was like the hardest part for me. Literally, as soon as I said it, she posted the second video with all of the Cabo, with all of the Miami. And I like lost it. Like, we've never screamed at each other like that before. Like, it was crazy.
Why was he screaming back?
I know. And I shouldn't have taken it there either. It's like I almost spoke it into existence. And that was the first time I'd ever seen the phone and seen for real. I mean, even October 9th, he texted her happy birthday 10 days before the show came out. What is the name of your book? What is the name of your book? Yeah. Don't text your ex happy birthday.
So at that point, he was cheating. So that part he was cheating. At that point, he was cheating. Because they were engaged by August. And in September time, you're texting your girl, your ex-girlfriend, you're seeing her, that part is yeah, SK, you a whole fool for that. I can't even lie to you, bro. That's devilish and wicked, man. You know what I mean? You knew exactly what you're doing. You dragged the old girl into the situation and you played her, bro. You know what I mean? You owe her big time, bro. I can't even lie to you, man.
Don't.
Thanks for the plug.
No, go buy the book, y'all. But, so that it got crazy out of hand at this point. Like, producers know. Producers are telling me, don't say anything. Don't say anything. I'm going. My friends are like, what is happening?
Also, as well, like this is playing out publicly. I think that's the part I really do empathize with her as well, right? This really does, this is honestly detrimental to mental health because this is being played out in public. It's not even like this is done privately and you can go around, you can go to your closet and just forget about it. This is happening publicly. You can't ever get away from it. People can see you in public and say, oh, you're right, or forgive SK, or SK's a whole fool, or like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that are gonna happen with this public humiliation and the situation. So this isn't just him playing her. This is like public embarrassment. This is shame. This is guilt. This is a lot of emotion someone's gonna be feeling. Like, I can't lie to you. Yeah, it's disgusting. I can't lie to you. It's disgusting, not necessarily for that part, but the fact that you knew, bro, you proposed to her and you were still moving mad with the ex things at it, because you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Are you okay? You need to get out of your house right now. And I said, you need to leave. And he wouldn't leave. Then the next day, like the craziest part, when you asked me earlier, like, when did you realize you were really being manipulated? The next day, one of the producers called me on the phone and she was like, I want to tell you that when all of this came out, like, I was so happy about it. Like, I'm so glad that you guys are not together now. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, there were so many things we thought you knew about him and we're just choosing to stay with him. But now we see that you had no idea what was actually happening. And I was like, first of all, why didn't anybody say anything? But so apparently after we got engaged, he backtracked, went back to producers and started like pleading with them to take it out.
Ooh.
Take what out?
Oh,
the engagement.
Oh, look at that. Look at that perfect timing. Oh, man. Oh, man. So he was out here moving mad. Producer said, nah, listen, let me tell you something. We need you to be free. We need you to be free. Damn, SK went to the producers. But the producers knew that he was moving mad and he didn't want to warn her. Didn't want to give her a little something, a little heads up. But you waited for someone else to expose the situation. And then you were going to produce the show. But it's the problem, right? Because they get views of this. They put a show where the person obviously, where the person's obviously going to propose, is going to get views. And the fact that there was madness coming, that's more views. This show is, even though we don't like the way the show is, this is probably one of the highest rated shows ever, because especially when everyone was waiting for episode 13 to 15, which basically didn't do anything. Literally, like, people are going to be excited about this show now. Like, they've brought a level of madness that's different. Producers are out here making TV, like they said, they're making programming, and they're not gonna lose their their bag over this?
At this point, she knows, like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, don't say anything that I told you. You know, we're going to just wait and see when he leaves. But we thought you knew and we thought you guys were breaking up because he was so insistent. He didn't want the engagement to be aired. And I had no idea. At this point, it was like over a month after the engagement. I had no idea he did that. And it was like, that was the last straw for me.
So to make sure we all understand, you had no idea that he had reached out to producers, and you thought you guys were in a decent.
This is like September.
That clip that when I talked to y'all was in November. I still had no idea he went to produce. I had no idea he went to producers till Thanksgiving, but he went to producers in October when we were here filming Reunion. We were filming Reunion, and he went off the grid. Remember, no one could find him, couldn't get a hold of him. Everyone was freaking out. Come to find out, he locked himself in a van with one of the producers and was like, you got to take the engagement out. You got to take the engagement out. Literally hours later, comes back home, like to our hotel. Is being so weird. We get in the biggest fight. He tells me like he was sad about his mom or something. Yeah. And really what it was that he was.
You thought you were good.
Yeah. At that point, I had no idea.
And this was before you came on our show and talked about how
I had
good
no
things
idea.
were, how much you trusted him.
I had no idea until the producer called me after all this, after y'all's clip, after everything came out, called me and she was like, I thought you knew he asked to take the engagement out. And how would I know that?
Did he ever explain to you or any producer why he was asking for it to be taken out?
They said they could not figure out what was wrong with him.
How can the producer's sneaky? The producer is freaking sneaky. How is it that he comes to you and starts saying to you, take out the proposal, but y'all never call Raven to ask her, Raven, have you agreed to what he said about taking the proposal out? Don't take me for a mug. I'm nobody's fool. You understand what I'm saying to you? I'm nobody's fool. You're telling me that my husband comes to you, my future husband comes to you, or my future wife even, comes to you saying about me to take out the proposal. Okay? We're going to take out the proposal, and y'all don't think to call me? And you don't think to call me and tell me, hey, did you agree to what they said? I don't care what my wife would say, my potential wife would say at that point. You'd have surely called me as well. Right? Because even if they're trying to talk for both of us, you'd surely call me and say, are you sure this is what you guys want? All right. That producer knew what he was doing too. He or she knew what he was doing too.
Is that the girl was already in his ear saying she was going to say something. I brought it up to him once, but I didn't push it because I could tell he was lying. He wasn't going to tell me the truth. And by this point, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Yeah. That was like the level of manipulation. Like you literally did all of that on camera, got re-engaged. It was for real. And then a month later, without even telling me or talking to me about it, you go back and you're like, please don't air it. Don't air it. I thought we were engaged.
So let's say the producer listened to him and then this whole, let's say everything goes swimmingly and none of this comes out and you guys are still engaged currently to this moment. Well, yeah, when you watch the episode, aren't you going to say, where's our engagement? And then the producer's
weird.
Yeah, why wouldn't they air that? That's a huge win for the show. I don't know, babe.
Yeah, you sit down, it's our engagement episode, and you're like,
where is it?
Yeah, they're like, oh, wow, like it's getting towards the end. You're like, oh, I must have really
this must be the part. This is the part right here.
Like maybe we missed it. Yeah, refresh.
Rewind.
Yeah. He didn't think that far ahead. But yeah, she literally called me and was like, I thought y'all had broken up. I thought you knew. And now looking back, I realized you had no idea.
Like a really smart, dumb guy.
Well, I think it's like this like level of hubris where like if you're smart, if you view yourself as a smart problem
you think
solver,
you
think you'll be able to evade all consequences because you'll solve every single quote unquote problem.
Never been to Mexico before.
You seem like you had a decent relationship with his mom. Had you spoken with her at all while this was all going on?
No. So like I said, all of this was happening right before Thanksgiving. And I was supposed to go to Thanksgiving with him, like ticket bought, bags packed, and then this happened. And I'm like, okay, clearly I'm not going. And I was like, do you want me to call your mom? Like me, his family's blowing up. His family's I love his family, but they're very protect our own, like, And so I could tell they were very concerned about him. And I kind of felt like a little bit
Yeah,
you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
They're always going to take their son's
Well,
side.
yeah, like they're worried about him, and
Yeah.
like almost by default, you're worried whether you're the bad guy.
Exactly. I kind of was feeling like the bad guy. So I was like, I just asked him, I was like, do you want me? I would love to talk to your mom. I would love that. Do you want me to call her? And he said no. So I said, okay.
You're like respecting his territory.
Yeah. Like I really care about his mom. Everything y'all saw between her and I was like so for real. Like she is amazing. Stuff like this, that's her son. So what am I going to do?
Yeah. Well, Raven, I thank you for being so vulnerable. I'm really sorry you had to go
you.
through this.
No, it's good.
Let's take a quick break from your story, and if you're down to hear.
Also, guys,
I've like fully.
Wait. Did anybody watch this part of the show? Can I just say this? Did anybody else watch this part of the show? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I hated the way that he related with this woman. I can't lie to you. I didn't like it one bit. If anyone's watched the interview, I didn't like the way he was giving advice. Like it sounded like he was triggered when he was giving this girl advice, and I didn't like it. I don't know if anyone else watched it and how they felt about it, but the way he was asking questions about, trying to question this girl's and the friend's integrity that she was talking about, I was just like, wait, what the frick is going on here? I don't know if anyone else watched this part of the show, but if you did, let me know your thoughts as well, because I thought to myself, wait, hold on a minute, sir, like, yo, chill. Like, old girl's trying to tell you what to do, trying to offer a little bit of advice, and it sounds like you're trying to question her. I was like, bro, I don't know. It was a bit weird for me. Yeah, I can play a little bit of it and you'll see what I mean, but it was a bit weird.
Met up with him, and obviously we were like drunk, so I was just like, this is so much for me to handle right now. And I wasn't even thinking about the trip until like a few days after that night out. She was like sending me bathing suits being like, what do you think of this one? And I was like, holy shit, I'm going on a trip with you and your boyfriend and my boyfriend. Like,
Did she acknowledge what she confessed to the next day? Does she remember? How drunk was she?
Oh yeah, she remembers it. So we were in a different city, so we were like driving home together. And in the car, I was like, so what's going on? Like, are you wanting to leave your boyfriend for Steve? Like, is that what we have? Because her and her boyfriend live together and they have a dog together. So I'm like, this is very, very messy. Because if you break up, like, you need to move out. She moved to a different city with him. So like, she lives in a different city. So I was like, if that's what you want to do, if you want to like leave your relationship, like, I'll help you pack up your shit. But if that's not what you want to do, you need to stop talking to Steve. Like, it's one or the other. And she claimed that she doesn't want to break up with her boyfriend, which means she has no intention of leaving the relationship that she's in. So that's kind of where it left.
So basically what happened is the caller called in and said, I need a bit of advice. Her friend is cheating on her her man, right? And the girl, her friend has admitted, well, she basically found out her friend was cheating, and she's asking him, she needs a bit of advice as to what does she do, because they're going to go on a holiday as an awesome foursome, and her best friend is going to be with her man who she's cheating on, and she feels awkward about it. She doesn't know what to do. And so she's asking, what do I do in this scenario? What is the best thing to do?
Gotcha.
But look at his body language. The body language has shifted compared to what he had with Raven's situation. Look what he has here. Do you know why? Because his last girlfriend cheated on him. Just my observation. His last girlfriend cheated on him, right? Or last fiance cheated on him. And I think he got a little bit triggered hearing a woman cheating on a man, right? And it's like he's thinking about himself again. So the body language is tensed up in this moment. And that's why his leg is up, because his leg was never up with Raven.
And so what do you think you should do?
I don't know. So another like layer to this is that my boyfriend and her boyfriend, like, we hang out a lot as couples, and they've become very close friends, like to the point that like they even hang out without us.
Does your boyfriend know?
No.
Okay. So you are currently not being honest with your boyfriend.
I didn't have the heart to tell him everything that happened, because I was like totally panicked. Like when I was driving home that day, I was like, holy shit, like, what do I do with all this knowledge? So I told him like a half truth. I said, I saw become very close friends, like to the point that like they even hang out without us.
Does your boyfriend know?
So the boyfriend has become close friends with the guy who's with her best friend, right? So now her is even more sticky, because if she tells her boyfriend the truth, the boyfriend may tell the guy the truth. And that could expose her friend if her friend doesn't get ahead of the head of the story. Now, you already know I told you this already. Listen, don't tell me you cheated, because I'm a snitch. Okay, I already told my boys, if I know your girlfriend and I know her well, please don't tell me this, because I may snitch. Okay, so if I know your girlfriend well, I know your wife well, I don't want to know. Okay, I don't want to know if you're playing her. Keep it on the low, 'cause my heart can't take it anymore. Like, I'm gonna snitch, so don't do it. Yeah, that's my thing.
No.
But look how he's itching his leg. He is definitely triggered.
Okay, so
So-
you are
Emotionally
currently
leaking.
not being honest with your boyfriend.
I didn't have the heart to tell him everything that happened because I was like totally panicked. Like when I was driving home that day, I was like, holy shit, like what do I do with all this
Yeah.
knowledge? So I told him like a half truth. I said, I saw her talking to somebody on her phone. I saw her talking to another guy. I didn't tell him the depths of it because I wanted to see how he handled that first.
Why?
Because she told me and I just had a feeling that he would go and tell him. And I didn't know if I was ready
So
to like
why did you
open that can of worms.
Why with the half truth?
Well, because she literally like made me swear up and down that I wouldn't tell him. So then if I told him and then he went and told her boyfriend, then she's going to freak out at me, even though obviously it's not my fault that she's doing that. But I literally swore up and down that I wouldn't say anything.
I hear you.
So
What do
it
you
puts me
think?
in a really tough position.
What do you think being a good friend means to you? What does being a good friend mean to you?
I mean, being honest, which I was honest with her, like immediately I said to her, like, you need to pick one. You need to either leave your relationship, be with Steve, or stop talking to him right now. I told her, like, I don't want to hear about your, like, whatever you're doing with him. Like, I don't want to be a part of it. Like, I told her I was disapproving of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was wrong. But at the same time, like, I can't control what he does, like, or what she does. So, like,
No.
I feel like I was being honest and I was, like, because I'm not a very confrontational person. I'm pretty much a people pleaser. So it was already a lot for me to be like, look, I don't think this is okay. I think you need to stop. Like,
old boy is dying out there, fam. Old boy is dying. I'm telling you, old boy is dying. Listen, let me tell you something. Yeah, I had a similar my situation where I got played. Not necessarily my friends, but people that I knew that were kind of close to me didn't tell me all the way. Do you understand? You know, I knew the sister, I knew the mom, you know, sorry, not the mom, I knew the dad, and I knew the brother, and they knew things, and they would say hello to me. But you know what I knew? I said, at the end of the day, they had loyalty to her. I cannot force their hand. They're not in my relationship. I cannot expect people that are close to her or have, unless they're like my best friend, it's gonna be very hard for them to tell me this thing. You have to understand how loyalty lines are drawn. But old boy has switched his leg. His leg has gone from left to right, going crossover. Old boy is in sweats. Old boy is in sweats right now because he's sweating. Yeah. That's why the advice is not the way it's meant to be.
But other than that, that's basically all that I haven't seen her since because she lives like an hour away from me. But I'm seeing her on Monday to watch The Bachelor. So now I'm just like, I feel like we need to have a conversation when I see her next, and I don't really know like how
your
I
leg
should
is swinging.
or what I even can or can't say.
Sure, your leg is swinging. Your leg is swinging too much. Lay your leg rest.
Like, do I have the right to say, I don't want to go on the trip with you if you don't stop talking to him? Like, is that within my...
You have the right to say whatever you want. I mean, you know, how much you care about doing the right thing versus avoiding conflict and trying to make everyone happy.
See, that's like always my dilemma is avoiding conflict and trying to make everyone happy. And
No,
then
I get that, but what happens?
I do that a lot.
What happens when it's versus doing the right thing?
It's tough because I've been thinking about us going on this trip, and I'm like, I don't even know how I'm going to be able to act normal around him because now I feel guilty by association.
Oh boy.
Like,
how much do you care about your person? Like right now, your integrity is on the line.
Yeah, that's what I've been feeling. So, I mean, there's just so many.
And I guess when I say
like,
what does it mean to be a good friend to you? Would you say holding your friends like, do you believe your friend is a good person?
Overall, I do think she is a good person.
This is the part that irritated me. You know, it irritated me because the line of questioning here didn't make sense for me as to why we're going down there. Do you believe your friend's a good friend? Do you believe she's a good person? It's like, look, let me be honest with you. I totally understand where people are coming from. Listen, some people are going to do some stupid stuff and they're going to ask you to keep their secret. At the end of the day, if you yourself know that you can't keep it, don't do it. I've told you already, listen, if I know your girl and I'm going to be close with her, if I've only just met her, I'm not involved. But if I know her very well, you know, we're now doing double dates and we're going on holidays and I know her very well. I'm sorry, Negro, you got a couple of days to tell her before I snitch. And I'm snitching and I know I'm going to get burnt for it. But here's my reality. I don't need that bullcrap around me. Okay? I don't need to be looking at her eyes knowing that, you know what, you're a goddamn liar. So either you blow up this world or I do. You know what I mean? Or stay away from me. You know what I mean? And you're gonna have to explain that to your girl as to why you can't be around me no more and why you can't chill with Kojo no more. Because you know what? I don't want to be the one to do it. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, listen, at the end of the day, if it's that close, then I'm not involved. If I don't know her, and I'm not about to get involved in that nonsense, bro. I don't spend time with her. I don't really know her. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I've got double standards and I'm hypocritical in this instance. If I don't know her, if I don't spend time with her, I don't give a hoots. You understand? Yeah, I don't have a hoots. Sorry, you know what I mean?
Person.
Great. That's good.
But I think she's been going through like a rough patch for the last little while, and she's done a few things that are out of character. This is not the only thing that she's done out of character in the last like year or so.
So do you think being a good friend is helping your friend going through a tough patch? Maybe there's some past trauma in her life. Maybe something happened. Who knows? Maybe she's acting out right now and she maybe, who knows, doesn't even fully grasp what she's doing, on some level. So I guess I'm just back to asking, what kind of friend do you want to be to your friend? Like, do you want to help her in the long run overall? Do you want to say, do you believe in her? Do you think she's better than this?
I do.
But can I be honest though? Can I be honest though? Can I be honest? I'm going on this trip. I'm going on this goddamn trip. Okay? Because we done already paid for it. So whatever you're about to do, if we need to postpone what you're going to say to after the trip, I can rock with you because we're about to go on a trip and I want to enjoy my trip. And I don't want to enjoy it with you, having issues with your man as we're on that trip. No, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, I'm hypocritical. I told you this already. Parts of me can't always be perfect. I'm just going to be real with you. I'm going to wait. Okay, because that trip needs to be done. And it's a lovely moment, and I love it. I'm gonna wait till after the trip's done. Okay, when the trip is done, I can release that information. But before the trip, no, because we need to enjoy ourselves. I'm sorry, but we paid good money for this. We paid good money for this. I'm not no. My integrity, yes, it's bought. It's bought because the holiday's already been paid for. It's down payment already. I'm not about to miss this holiday. I'm so sorry. So we gonna enjoy this holiday. And then you go and tell them the truth. Okay? But we're going to enjoy this holiday. So you got figure it out. Because, you know what I mean? Like, figure it. You're going to have time on this holiday to figure it out. Because when we get off the plane, God, we go do. Okay? I'm sorry. I'm not about to waste a trip. I'm not about to mess it up. You see what I'm saying? And especially if you're moving mad and then you want to come along as a third wheel. No. Me and my wife are gonna do some things that I want to enjoy. Do you understand? So I'm not gonna mess up your situation. I want you to finish. When we get past the holiday, then you can do what you gotta do. But I'm going to go on home my holiday, and you're gonna come along with your partner. Okay? Yeah. Because when we get home, I can deal with it. Okay? Woo. Yeah. I'm sorry. No.
I've known her for a really long time, and my only thing that's been planting a seed of doubt in my mind is that like a long time ago, like we were really young, she cheated on her like ex-boyfriend from forever, like 5 boyfriends ago.
Sure.
And it was like a super toxic relationship. So at the time I was like, whatever she has to do to get out of this relationship, I don't really care.
Sure.
We were also a lot younger.
Yeah.
So now that it's happening again, I'm like, it kind of reaches the question of like, is my friend a serial cheater as well?
No,
because this is now her second time doing this. But because it was so many years ago the first time, and I was so much younger. I think I was literally like 17 years old. I just feel like it's different then.
Either you believe in your friend that this is out of character for her, and despite her choices that she's made throughout her life, that you believe that who you decided to be friends with is a good person with a conscience who has a desire to be a good person and bring happiness to people's lives and do good by people and make high character choices when people aren't looking, et cetera, et cetera. Or you've been wrong about her, right? And if you have been wrong about her, do you want to maintain being friends with her? So
I've been thinking about that as well, just because it's one of those.
Like, how did he get there? It's just like, that's to me. This is so mad to me. It's so mad to me how he got to a point where we're even saying, do you know what? Like, do you still want to like? I'm not. Listen, if my bro cheats on his wife, you know what I mean? I'm not thinking. I'm not thinking about you're a bad person. I'm thinking to myself, bro, you're doing some effed up stuff now, and we need to check this. Do you understand what I'm saying? we need to check it. Now, I may need to separate for you for a little while if you're not going to do what we need to be done. Fair play. But then I'm like, wait, why are we questioning whether the person's a bad person or not? Like, yo, they cheated and are being stupid about it and are being afraid to tell the truth. I'm not about to questioning whether they're bad or not. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have boys that have done stupid stuff. I don't question whether they're bad people or not. They're still my friend. So even how I see them is through rose-tinted glasses. No, they're not bad. They're just stupid for what they've done, and they're bad for what they've done, but they're not bad people. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just looking at like they're not bad people. Even my ex, even any of my exes that have done me wrong, I don't see them as bad people. They done bad stuff. They ain't bad people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sir, this is where I start looking at. I say, where are you going? What's going on? What's going on in your head? What are you feeling right now? It sounds like you're being a little bit triggered by this conversation. You know what I mean? That's what it sounds like at this moment, you know?
This friendships where when you've been friends for so long, it's kind of like those years mean a lot, that it seems like one mess up that they do doesn't seem worth it for me. Like, I feel like she adds a lot to my life that it's like, I think I don't want to say look past, because I'm not looking past it, because this happened like weeks ago and I'm still thinking about it like every day. So it's obviously like not just a small little whatever, but I do feel
I would
like
file that in the bucket of, you think she's a good person who's doing bad things right now.
Yeah.
But I'm asking you, if it turns out, if you have some sort of realization that she's just simply not the person you thought she was, that behind this lie there are more lies, and she's just been better at she's been better at lying to you in the past than she is in this moment. And maybe it's the alcohol at a coincidence of you looking over her shoulder, you call her in this lie, and the more you look deeper, the more you uncover that she's just like not a high character person. And I'm asking you, just, you know, despite your history, despite your friendship, if that turns out to be true, do you want to be friends with her?
I mean, probably not.
Okay, that makes sense.
But I'm also like,
why? What the frick? What the hell is going on? Like, whoa, why is he questioning the friendship? That is so mad. That it's honestly mad to me. Now I'm watching it back the second time, I'm realizing how mad it is. It's even more madder than I thought. The first time I was like, I didn't like it. Now I'm like, yeah, I really don't like this. This doesn't make why are we trying to question a friendship? Oh, is she not a high character person? Would you want to be friends with her? Like, what the frick? Look, listen. She cheated when she was 17. She's a grown-ass age. Well, she's probably 30 now, whatever, right? Whatever she is now, yeah? Much older, and she's repeated the mistake. How many years later on? 5 boyfriends ago, she cheated, and now she cheated again. And this, what is this about character? She hasn't done the same thing again, and she's done. The friend said she's done something that's out of character, which means you already know her character. But if you find out she's lying and has been lying about other people lying about the situation that she's been cheating on in this relationship, it doesn't make a difference. All I know is that you've cheated on the person. Okay, more than I realize you cheated on. It's not about, again, listen, that's why I don't like it. He's questioning the character. And it's like, listen, I get it. I understand what you're saying, but listen, don't try to destroy the relationship. We just need to, she came here looking for an answer around what should she do? That's it.
I'm pretty notorious for being kind of cold and cutting people off.
Okay, great.
Like, if someone makes one mistake or wrongs me one time, I've been.
He said, see that? You hear what he said? All right, great. Why'd you want to cut a friend off? I'm so confused, sir. It can never be that deep. Like, I need you to chill. It can't be that deep, Nick. It can't. Nick, look at me. I like you. I like your energy. I think you're great. But look at me. I need you to focus. Look at me. I need you to focus. This is trauma responding right now, because the line of questioning is going left. It serves no purpose apart from destroying a friendship, which I don't think needs to happen. The simple question is, what do I do? And the simple thing is, give her an answer. Whether it's right or wrong, give her an answer. Maybe you feel like she should tell her. Okay, then say, listen, hey, it's going to question your integrity. I think you should tell her. She might hate you for a little while, but you're going to be friends after. That's it, and be done. Dragging it out with the questions we're asking just makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? None at all.
Pretty notorious for just being like.
Even if you look at how he drops his head and looks into the mic, it's very ominous. Not saying that he's, trying to do anything, but it tells me that, you know what, that there's a little bit of seethingness in there, a little bit of hurt in there, a little anger in there. You know what I mean? There's a little.
I'm not associating with that person anymore, so I've been trying to be like more graceful and more forgiving. But it's like, at what like where do you draw the line? Because sometimes I feel like I would maybe cut people off too easy.
You make tough choices in tough situations, and you hold your friends accountable, and you push them to do the right thing, and you try to give them as many opportunities to do that, even in the moment. If they beg and say they'll never be friends with you, et cetera, you know, like to me, to me, the answer is simple. What you should do.
What is your answer? I would love to know.
You reach out to your friend, or maybe you wait till Monday night, whatever. Time seems to be limited because of this trip. And you sit her down and you say, listen, I've been thinking a lot about what happened, and you need to tell him. Like, I think you're a good person. I love you. I think this is out of character for the person I got to know. I believe that there's a good person, and we've all done bad things, but it's how we handle these choices, and you need to tell him. And
can I be honest? Listen, if I had a girl and she cheated, I'm not expecting her best friend to come and tell me. I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm not. I'm really not. I'm not expecting it. Even if I have a wife and you know me very well, I'm not expecting your friend to come and tell me that you've been cheating. I just don't expect it, because I understand loyalty lines. And I understand that some people don't often, and I wouldn't even think about your integrity. It wouldn't even cross my mind that it's about your integrity. What would cross my mind is that you're her friend. And in the friendship, let me tell you something about friendship. Sometimes we follow people into places that, you know what, they're absolutely wrong, but you're still my friend. I'm gonna follow you. I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying that that is the wildest thing about friendship. Sometimes that can happen. And I'm not saying it's all the time you're gonna follow that person, but I'm saying there are times where we may follow a friend and we know what they're doing is wrong, but you know what, you're my friend. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna defend your ass irrespective, because we're gonna hold it down together. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna hold it down together. We're gonna hide the bodies together. Right? So that's a friendship thing there. You understand? So I can't expect, you to have that loyalty to snitch and tell. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm just saying from my perspective, right? In that aspect, right? But I'm saying this because of the way he's getting triggered, not necessarily because she can talk to a friend, because she should talk to her friend, right? She should talk to her friend, whatever. But at the end of the day, I have to be ready that she may hide some of the bones, and it may be that. You know what I mean? It may be that she may hide the bones, and it might be it that I'm not gonna get mad at that. Do you know what I'm saying? So if she doesn't feel like she needs to tell her friend and force her to tell her, I'm also can't say anything from that, because again, she is a friend. So I can't force her to do that. What I would say is that, look, do you know what? If you know that you can't do it, and here's my honest truth, the higher echelon is you tell your friend to tell the truth. But the reality is most of us don't live on the higher echelon every single day. We have different levels for different things. So her friend on this level may say to herself, do you know what? I'm willing to hide the bones. Ain't got nothing to do with me, sis. Do your thing. I'm going to hold you down. If you ain't... I'm just saying.
And I'll give you a few days, but if you don't, I will. And I love you, and I'm here to support you. And as long as you're willing to try to do the right thing, and maybe you need some therapy to address like these choices you're making, but as long as you're willing to try to be a better person, I will always be your friend. And you can be mad at me, and you can say whatever you want to me right now, but I'm saying this to you because I believe in you. And I think you're better than this. This is going to be hard. And I don't know what's going to happen with this trip. I don't know what's going to happen with your relationship with your boyfriend, but I'll be with you to help you get through it one way or the other. But like, it's going to come out. This is not who you are. This is not, I'm hoping you don't want to live with this choice that you're making. I hope that you want to believe that you.
And you have to remember as well, I'm always saying this as well. I want to be honest with you. Listen, truth tellers all the time don't have no friends. Let me tell you something. Truth tellers that tell the truth every single time don't have no friends. You know why? Because people do things that are wrong and they look for coverage. Just saying. You know what I mean? I'm not saying in this situation. I'm saying in general. People who tell the truth all the time, great. But you're going to have no friends because we all commit crimes. If I say, look, I've got a pirate, pirate doesn't even exist these days no more. You know what I mean? We don't even do that no more. But let's say like I stream a film. Let's say I stream a film and you tell me, oh my God, how are you committing a crime? You're streaming a film, coach. Negro, get the frick out of here. See, so there are certain things that as friendships, if you tell the truth every single time, and when I say tell the truth, that you hold the person to the most highest moral standard, you're gonna have no friends because we all fall short. We fall down and we get up. We fall down and we get up. Like I'm not saying I'm not saying that, you know what, like that we have to lie or anything, but I'm saying in the sense of the fact that there are some things we let go. We just let it go because you know what? They're your friend. And sometimes it's better I just don't say anything and I keep my mouth shut. Because sometimes, in order to keep a friend, you can't be the truth teller every single time. You know what I mean? Every single thing, every little thing, you're the truth teller. I need you to relax. Sometimes you just need to shut up and keep quiet and just chill. Sometimes just chill. You know what I mean? Sometimes just chill. That's it. Just keep it quiet. You know what I mean? Like there's sometimes you just need, and it's a time in the season. It's a time in the season. You have to know this. Like, and I'm telling you, listen, I'm telling you this now for free because a lot of times people think they have to tell someone every single thing the person's doing wrong. Sometimes the person knows. Just watch them. You don't need to say anything. Sometimes your words don't need to say anything. You even your eyes will tell the truth. You look at it and go, I don't know. You know? That's what I'm saying. But I'm not talking about necessarily this situation here. Everyone has different ways of going about it. Do you know what I mean? Everyone has different ways of going about it in this particular thing. But I'm telling you, sometimes you need to keep your mouth shut. I've learned this the hard way. If you always want to be the truth teller, you're going to be the truth teller alone. You will not have no friends because everybody makes mistakes. Do you know why men sometimes struggle to hold men accountable especially when it comes to cheating? It's because they're about to cheat next. They may be the next one who's going to cheat. And if you always tell the truth, guess what's going to happen to you when you get you cheating? They're going to tell you about yourself too. I'm not saying it's right. Again, it's wrong. I'm just telling you that it's not always that you have to say something. Sometimes and you'll realize your friend will come to you like, be like, hey, I saw it. But you know what? Sometimes I have to let you be free. Sometimes I have to let you do what you got to do. You know what I mean? That's my grace being extended to you. Sometimes it's going to listen, if God said everything that you did was wrong, you wouldn't be able to be alive today. Some of you don't realize, if God told you every single thing that you were doing wrong at every minute of the day, you wouldn't have rest and peace. Sometimes you just need to zip it. You're talking too much. Keep quiet. You're doing too much. Pause up. Time and season. I'm not saying everything. I'm just saying time and season. Yeah. I know it may not make sense now, guys. I know. I understand. And I get it if some people will disagree. I understand. I'm saying just watch. Sometimes just your friend will even come to you and tell you. You know? Sometimes your friend will even come to you and you'll be like, I know I did wrong. I know I did wrong. And you're like, listen, hey, listen, some things I'd say, sometimes I don't want to say. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I get it. I'm here. That's what sometimes a friendship is about. Sometimes we just sit there and we keep quiet to the wrongs that sometimes they do, because I'm not your keeper necessarily in terms of your parents. Sorry, you know, I mean, I'm your friend. I want to hold you back up, but that's my personal opinion. It doesn't mean you have to hold it. I don't think that's everybody's going to be everybody's truth, but that's just what I've seen in friendships. You know what I mean?
You have better integrity than this. and I'm here to be your friend. This is me being your friend because I love you. And this is painful to me, and I don't want to do this, and I'm uncomfortable right now, and I'm scared, and I can only imagine you are, but it's because I love you that I'm insisting that you tell him. And if you don't, I'm going to. So it's up to you. But there is nothing you can say to me to change my mind. So you need to do this before the trip. And then you need to tell your boyfriend and tell him that you haven't been fully honest with him, because I promise you, if he finds out later, every day that goes by that he knows that you didn't tell him, he's going to start questioning you. Birds of a feather.
And it's hard because I tell him literally everything. Like, I tell him, like, we tell each other what we eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this is the only thing I've ever hid from him.
And the only thing you ever hid from him is about your girlfriend cheating on her boyfriend. So if you want to destroy your trust with your boyfriend, keep doing what you're doing.
It's the only one I agree with.
I know. It's a high
This is the only part I agree with, right? It's the only part I agree with. And the reason why I say the only part I agree with in this part is because, again, because the boyfriend has already made a friendship with the other boy. You understand? Right? So I would agree. Like, it may look a bit, you know what I mean? It may look a little some way, you know what I'm saying? So, but you got to be very careful. You got to be very careful this situation. That's why I said I will just come out and say it, because I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste time and think about it. I'm just like, listen, baby, you know what I mean? As for me, if let's say, I'm trying to think of a situation. Okay, like, let's say my girl says her best friend, that's very true, El Cid. This is very true as well. So there's not always you have to tell the person something, but then if the husband is a friend of the friend, it's slightly different. So he's not involved, but if he is involved, it might be a little something. You know, you know what I mean. So that's the only difference. But I hear what you're saying, El Cid. I hear what you're saying. I'm trying to think if it's my girl's best friend is cheating, and she is, and that boy, I know the guy. Whew, it's gonna be a bit mad. It's gonna be a bit mad. It's gonna be a bit mad still. But again, you know me, how I think loyalty lines. You know what I'm saying? I think about loyalty lines. My girl's got loyalty to her friend, so telling me this information might be compromising. That's how I think about it in my head. So other people don't think of it that way, but in my head, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I'll know this is a very difficult situation, and you know what? But what I would say is this: that friend wasn't my friend until the girl until I knew the girl. So yeah, it is what it is. It's messy, but it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Situation. I'm like,
it's not. I mean, it's high stakes, but it's actually not that complicated or that simple. It's difficult, and don't be the person who tries to make excuses for the situation. Be like, well, it's really none of my business, and you know, I don't like. Like, what do I do? I don't like. He would want to know. You would want to know. Your boyfriend would want to know. She's playing him for a fool, and if she really wants to be with him, like, she needs to figure out her shit, because she's gonna destroy. She's destroying lives. And this has this type of stuff has a ripple effect. I don't know what relationship she has with his parents or vice versa. The longer this goes on, the worse it's going to get. And if she has any hope in reconciliation with her boyfriend, the longer she lies to him, the worse it's going to get. And yeah. And I think if you don't take my advice, you're going to regret it.
Because you're torturing yourself. And it's not your fault, but you're torturing yourself. You got thrown into this insane situation that is like every people pleaser's nightmare, where it's like there's no option where everybody's pleased in this. Like, even if she does like the right thing and tells her boy, like, he is going to be really upset and devastated. And it's definitely like the best on a list of like imperfect options. But like, that is a horrific situation to be in, and you're being so thoughtful about it. But also, like, in terms of like your own self-preservation, like, you're lying, kind of like Nick said, like, you're lying by omission right now to your boyfriend, and you're doing it for a really noble cause, in the sense of like, it should be a conversation that first and foremost, like, he should find out from her that she is cheating, or sorry, like, your friend's boyfriend should find out from her. So like, it makes total sense why you're doing it, but it's also like, it's putting you in jeopardy.
Also, I mean, you're currently an accomplice.
That's how I feel, which is why I know like it can't, because I
not this nigga saying you're currently an accomplice. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, he's doing too much. He's adding 2 on 10. Like, yo, you're accomplice. Like, yo, no. No. And then again, I have a very biased view. Like I said, when this when something like this happened to me, there was a girl that I knew that also knew my girl, but she obviously was much closer to to my girl at the time, and she let slip, unfortunately, a piece of information that I found out, and I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying, like da 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 da. But I kept her, when I went to confront my girl about it, I kept her name out of it. I kept it completely clean. I even lied about it. I said, the God told me, listen, this, and this, and this, because I didn't want it to fall back on her. See, if I'm going to protect you, I'm going to protect you. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't want you to get dragged into the situation. I don't want your friend now who's let slip. I said to her, listen, I'm not going to out you. I understand you have loyalty to her. You know what I'm saying? Now, my biggest issue that I had with the girl was when you knew me, you knew, that you knew that she was doing this, and you didn't tell me. And she was like, no, I didn't know at this point in time, because she was telling me to win her back, go after her. And I was like, wait, you knew that and you didn't tell me? But she's like, actually, no, like I didn't actually know at this particular time. Oh, I was like, okay. Someone said the X is watching this right now. Yeah, if it is what it is, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I mean, to be honest, I've moved mad anyway, so I can't even say what else I've done, but you know what I mean, I've moved mad with the situation, so it is what it is. You know what I mean? So so it does happen. And I just said, okay, cool. Now I get it. You're loyal to your friend first, you're not my friend. You know what I mean? So you know, I can't body that. You know what I'm saying? So if that's the case, it is what it is. You feel me? Yeah. Yeah, man. That's what it be. Danny boy, I appreciate you, my brother. Good seeing you, brother.
Tried doing the like convincing myself like, oh, it's not really my business, and like it was eating me alive. I'm like, it's not, like I can't. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not built like that. Like even if the other stuff hadn't been told, even the text on her phone was enough for like to make my stomach turn. Never mind, like it just got worse and worse. I was just like,
yeah, I think this is a defining moment in your life. I don't mean to oversell it, but
yeah,
you are going to look back, and either you're going to handle it the right way or the wrong way. And if you handle it the wrong way, it's going to affect your life. It's going to get people to question you. It's going to get you to question yourself. People will think differently of you if they find out you tried to hide this. People will lose.
Negro, whoa, like wait, whoa, yo. A defining moment in your entire life. No, you're triggered, sir. You're triggered. I need you to chill the frick out. Nick Vile, chill, bro. Defining your whole entire life. Bro, in 2 years' time, we'll forget about this. You'll be forgiven, and you'll be back with your friend again. Like, why is it whole defining for your whole entire life? Nah.
Trust in you. You will doubt yourself, and you might end up just becoming this person who makes it, and gets good at making excuses for themselves. Or you can be a good friend. You can do the very difficult but right thing, and you can support her with love and challenge her and say, like, I'm doing this because I believe in you. Because if I didn't believe in you, I'd just stop talking to you, because this isn't okay. It's like, you don't need me to explain that it's not okay, because you're lying, and you lied to me, and it's affecting our relationship. So like, it has to stop. I'm not going to be party to this. I'm not going to continue to lie to my.
I mean, technically, she hasn't lied to her. You know what I mean? Technically, the girl hasn't lied to her friend. She told her when she asked her what happened. She told her the truth. So technically, she hasn't lied to her. So this is what I'm trying to say. I think you're going a little bit too far, sir. I need you to chill.
My boyfriend, this is not what I want. So either you need a wake up call, and you're willing to start making amends, or you're not. But like, I hope you are, because I love you and I want to be your friend. And as long as you're willing to try to do the right thing, I will support you and have your back.
See, when you say it like that, it sounds like so seamless, but I think my issue, I've been like, because when she told me, like, you can't tell, like, don't tell anyone, like, she told me specifically not to tell my boyfriend, and I, like, at the time I was drunk and just, like, overwhelmed and confused. I was like,
it doesn't really matter. You probably were in a state of shock.
My boyfriend and her boyfriend are good friends. Like, we have this dynamic where the four of us hang out, and she was basically saying, like, if you tell anyone, this is all going to be ruined.
Yeah,
so
but then you're lying to your boyfriend. Like, I'm like, that's a selfish thing for her to say, because it's like, even with the mentality of, oh, this isn't really my business, or, oh, it's between the two of them. Like, as Nick was saying, the ripple effect, like it's going to, no matter who's cheating on who or what the situation is, it's always going to involve more than just those two. You have an even better excuse for being like, excuse me, you're telling me I'm going to ruin this dynamic. Actually, no, you're going to ruin this dynamic.
I remember a situation. You know, I have stories for days, guys. I have stories for days, but his pressure's about to pop. I remember I had a story for days. I remember this is back in the day, and I remember I got in trouble for this. So, I knew that. So basically, I had a situation where me and my boy, we're not friends now as such. We're cool, but we're not as friends as such. Me and my boy met two girls. I knew one of the girls very close. I knew one of the girls because I knew her older sister. And then the other girl I didn't really know as well, right? So my boy ended up liking one of the girls who he liked one of the girls, right? And I knew the girl that had the older sister, but he liked the other girl, right? But he went out, or at least did some things with the girl that had the older sister. And then halfway through the situation, he wanted to switch to the other girl. And I told him, listen, if you do this, it's gonna be a madness, bro. It's gonna be an absolute madness. But I'm gonna support you because you're my boy. And I said, even though I know her sister, I know it's her younger sister, I don't know her like that. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna be real with you. You're still my boy. We're gonna hold it down. Yeah. You know, that's what it is. We're gonna hold it down, bro, because at the end of the day, we boys. You feel me? Yeah, I'm not gonna let two chicks come in between the two of us. I don't care if I know her sister or not. We boys. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and then obviously the situation kind of blew up when they actually got together, and the girl was like, you know, the girl was coming at me saying, you know my sister, you know me. How can you not tell me? I said, my friend, please. That's my boy. But that's my boy. You understand? Then the sister got onto me as well, and and I was like, listen, hey, I hear you, but that's my boy. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm not about to put you. Listen, I'm sorry, but you're not giving me no poussoir. We're not getting no money together. I know we had a history back in the day, but you're not my boy. You have to understand how it works. This is my guy. You know what I'm saying? This is my guy. So I'm not about to release that to you, that information to you, and kill myself in the crossfire. You know what I'm saying? Like, it be like that. You know what I'm saying? But in the end, it didn't work for me anyway. So the boy turned against me because obviously the situation, I told him the truth. And this is what I said. Sometimes some things that he said, I told him the truth. I said, bro, and it almost turned into a fight between the two of us. The friendship didn't survive. But someone might say, well, if you were going to be good friends, then, you know, we wouldn't break up over that. I would say, yeah, it's true as well. But sometimes I also realize, well, sometimes wisdom is this: keep your goddamn mouth shut. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll set a precedence from the beginning. Listen, if I'm going to, you know me, if you tell me this information, I'm going, you know what I mean? But once I became a safe place for him to tell me this information, okay, once I became a safe place for him to tell me this information, I had to back it after that. What I should have done pre that was tell him, listen, if you tell me, I'm gonna tell her. That's different because I told you, I've warned you, then you can't come with information to me. But if I've never told you that, and then suddenly I'm giving you this, it will look like self-righteousness in that moment. Oh, you got to do the right thing. Then it's gonna look a bit mad. Do you know what I mean? Or I'm gonna tell. No. I've told my boys already from now, brothers. If your girl and I know her, and your wife, you know her, don't tell me you cheated. Because if you tell me, I'm probably going to snitch. That's different. I've told you, I've warned you up front. You know what I mean? Yeah. It'd be like, anyway, I'm tired of this stuff. Let's get back to Raven because it's getting late and it's almost 4:00 and I need to get into something serious. You know what I mean?
You're going to do the right thing here, and I'm going to, as your friend, make sure you do it. So please just fucking tell him. Please don't make me do it, but I 100% will.
Yeah. I like saying, please don't make me do it, but I will, because that's like, I don't want this.
Yeah.
Like, you're giving me no choice.
And give her a few days.
Basically.
Give her a few days to think about. Back to you, Raven. Is there anything while we were...
Okay, so that was another day, I guess, then, because I guess he did a show within a show. It was another day. Okay. It was another day. All right, I hear that.
Talking to our lovely caller.
That was so interesting.
Maybe popped in your head of any other information that you find that the audience might appreciate hearing.
I really want people to take away from this, like, the relatability of this story. And I know there's so many, like, crazy parts of it, you know, like, we were on Love is Blind, right? But I think a lot of people go through similar things where they just don't listen to themselves. And you have an idea of someone or a situation, in your head and you really want it to work.
Yeah.
And it probably speaks more, it speaks a little bit about you too. But, I want people to see, like, I recognize I could have done things a lot differently. Yeah, like a lot of my critics would say, like, oh, you did it for Pilates, like, whatever. And part of me is like, okay, like, I'm sorry, I have a job that I love and I'm passionate about. And like, okay, I did some jumping jacks in a pod, like, sue me.
Well, but also, like, if this was some sort of plan that you were a part of, like, where do you look good in this?
Where do I look good in this? I mean, like, this fundamentally changed my life. Like, I have no other way to describe it. Like, I will never date again the same way. I've lived my life so differently now.
Were there any red flags
Yeah.
that you could talk about that you chose at the time to ignore that maybe for our listeners could hey, if this was a red flag, I ignored it, but I should have known that.
So there's some funny ones and there's some not so funny ones. I'll start with like some of the funny ones because they all kind of tie into themselves. But I think my first real red flag moment was in February. So we wrapped in July, August, September, October, November, we start seeing each other, December, whatever. February, I go to San Francisco. I think that was my first time going. He had come to see me a few times. So I go to San Francisco. Like, we're serious, but we're being realistic. We're not like official, right? We don't move in together until July. So this is in February. And he had gone to school. I was trying to take a shower. I was looking for a towel. And I open the cabinet under the sink and there's all this stuff shoved in there. And I see a towel and I pull the towel out and it's like bunched up. But I was like, maybe it's clean. Guys are dirty. So I pull it out and there's makeup all over the towel and hair all over the towel. And I was like, that's weird. And so I put it back in there. But I knew in my head, we're not officially dating, so it's fine. It's not cheating. That was not my issue. So eventually he comes back, whatever, and we're talking. And I'm like, hey, we're talking about our relationship, actually. And I'm like, hey, I do want to bring this up. I did find this towel under the sink, blah, blah, blah. Again, long pause. And I knew in the pit of my stomach right there, this isn't going to be good. And he goes and gets the towel and he's like, now, mind you, there's hair on the towel. Girls know. How does it look when you wash your face with that towel? Disgusting. It's not just tan. It's mascara.
Yes. Yeah. There's lip stuff involved.
It goes brown, pink, black. Duh. We all know that, right? He's like, this is a funny one. Because, yeah, I know. He goes, I did a turmeric face mask. Sir. What?
First of all,
a turmeric face mask.
Is that real?
You thought he had?
I'm sorry, but can we be honest? I'm sorry. If this is before you went into a relationship and this stuff is happening and he's willing to lie about this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. This is not it. This ain't it. Look, I remember, listen, I'm sure, I don't know where it is. No, I think I threw it away. Listen, last time, there wasn't long ago, a girl came to my house and was like, whose eyelash is this? I said, some girl that came before you. I'm not about to start lying about what girl's been to the crib or whatever. Do you know what I mean? If you find a panty in the house, man, I don't know there's even a panty here, then I'm going to tell you the truth. Yeah, it was a girl that probably came before you. That's what it is. Like, I'm not about to start lying about it. And the problem is, because he's lying about it, this should be your alert to tell you the person is not trustworthy. But this also will come about when we still are. Look, can I be honest with you guys? Look, listen, a lot of time, if you're lucky, you won't find a bad one. If you're unlucky, you might do, right? And if you do, sex usually is the thing that blinds people from the reality of the truth. Sex usually is the issue that blinds people from the truth of what happened with that particular person. Right? That's the reason why as well. Yeah.
Did you with like any specifics?
Yeah. And I'm like, but SK, first of all, there's hair on it. There's black stuff. There's mascara. Like, I'm a girl. I know what that towel is for real. And why did she put it under the sink? Because she didn't know what to do and she got makeup all over it. No. Lies about it, right? And again, it was not cheating, but what it was lying. That should have been my first. And I felt it in my heart immediately when he took 20 minutes to answer me in front of my face. I should have known this is someone who will lie through his teeth.
So you already see why I said that there were red flags before we started? What did I tell you? There were listen, and that's why I said about anybody out there just telling you they just cheat. No. There were red flags that were present, and she willfully ignored it.
To try to make you believe it based off of who he knows you think you're with. And so I just believed it, you know? And of course I didn't believe it, of course. But I wanted to believe it. I wanted to believe it. And that was the first sign of
what colors is he seeing on
now.
Is that a turmeric face mask?
It was that's yellow. It was tan. Not the picture.
Just wondering what he thought.
But again, people are gonna listen to this and be like, girl, you're right, I should have. But also this leads to, and this is like the part that was also really hard for me. There were several times. I mean, there was even one time quite recently within the past like 5-ish months where he accidentally sent me a girl's picture on Instagram.
He's like, what a mediocre photo. You're so beautiful. Like, literally,
I think you should try this makeup trend, babe.
Yeah, or like, oh, you should.
She's not as hot as you.
And it's funny you say that because there was always this trend of, and it's hard because this is a part that I'm still processing, and it's probably the ego inside of me. But there was always this trend of him being really hard on the way that I looked. And it got to the point in August, actually, that I was so upset. Like, we had basically lived together the entire summer. We had our apartment. And anything I would wear, it was just always something. And it just the way it made me feel. And then sending the picture of this, it was always these girls that looked nothing like me. The opposite. On top of the fact, oh, you shouldn't wear that. Oh, I don't like when you do your face like that. Oh, and I was so sad. And I even started to say to him, like, you know, I feel like something's up. You don't really like me. You don't like the way that I look. Like, something is off. I'm not getting the same vibes. To be honest, I've dated a ton of men who've only dated me for the way that I look. Sure. I'm sure a lot of girls do that. And it was just always so negative. And I kept feeling that over and over and over and over and over and over. And then when all of these girls came out and more of the critics were like, Raven, like, you know, he doesn't even like girls that look like you. He never liked you to begin with. And I'm like, little do y'all know that was something that I kept bringing up because it just felt so.
He liked the cockazoids. He liked the cockazoid. That's why he liked the cockazoid. Oh. And then the manipulation that he used of talking about how she looked. That's usually the negging that happens. Damn. Brother was going into them dark. I call negging really dark. I don't even like negging. Is like, you know, when Harry Potter talks about dark magic, yeah, like that's the darkest of the dark. I don't like negging. I think that's ridiculous. I think, you know, that's a disgusting form of manipulation to intentionally neg somebody.
Like, I don't know. He just really, what I felt, I knew that something was off.
No, I'm sorry to go through that.
No, I know.
Thank you. Hindsight 2020.
Yeah.
It's easy to be hard on yourself, and it's easy to say that, but like, you know, we do have egos, and we do we want the people we love to like treat us well, and like I'm sure everyone in this room has instead of listening to your gut or recognizing that you're with someone who's not making you feel good about yourself, you decided to use that as a way to challenge yourself and prove to yourself that you were enough. It's a painful lesson to learn.
It is a painful, like, I want people to take from that, like, and it goes much deeper, you know, like in the end, he basically admitted it, like said like, yeah, you're not my type. I'm not attracted to you. And I was like, well, good to know. But like you said, like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to convince yourself. Like, I was convincing myself that doesn't matter. I'm with someone. He's so smart. He's so intellectual. He likes me for other reasons. Like,
and as someone who maybe, like you said, you've been someone who it's been the opposite, where you almost felt like people were dating you for your looks. You know, we all remember Batista or Batiste or whatever. Bartise, whatever the fuck. Maybe we don't remember. Barista. That's funny. It wasn't the whole internet not getting his name wrong.
Whoever we had on to recap it was saying that their mom referred to him as barista.
Yeah.
I think that was part of our episode.
Sure.
Head. This is why I'm with this. That kind of stuff isn't important to him. Little did I know that it actually is, just not with me. So like I said, just not ignoring the feelings.
Yeah, when it feels off.
When it feels off, it's off, and it's okay to bring that up, you know? And sometimes you're gonna get lied to, like, I got lied, like, it's fine, but if you're willing to be open and vulnerable and listen to yourself, like there's no other way that I would wanna go through my love journey. Just doing it 100%, you know?
Well, I think that's a good spot to wrap up.
Yeah.
Raven, I can't thank you enough for coming here and sharing your story and being vulnerable and sharing everything you have shared. And it's not easy to do.
Yeah.
And I know this hasn't been a fun experience for you, but it sounds like you're better for it. And it sounds like you're going to, you've already learned from it. Sounds like you're maybe even a good spot with a new person. And that's exciting. We wish you nothing but the best, whether it's with that person or just in general.
Thank you.
And I think I say it for a lot of people in this room and the people listening. We're all rooting for you.
Oh my God, thank you.
And I think you're gonna be just fine.
I will.
I think you're gonna be crushing life.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for listening, guys.
And definitely notoriously a definitely piggy person when it comes to people.
Well, guys, that was crazy. Maybe I'll probably do like a little dark arts version of it and just do like take a part of it out and discuss it. But yeah, that was whew, baby, that was a lot. That's what I'm gonna say, And I think for anybody out there, again, self-reflection, introspection, just reflecting on a past relationship will help you kind of spot some of the things that may have gone wrong or things that weren't working very well or breaches in the wall, you know what I mean? And then you can begin to make positive movements in future. Don't be afraid to look back and kind of learn from the mistakes and grow from it as well. So appreciate you guys. Honestly, it was good conversation, good sticking around, you guys. Good Friday night. Talking about Raven as well. It was a vibe. And we'll be back here tomorrow night with the boys and the girls talking about Ready to Love. I need to go and watch that show. But if you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor. Like, share, subscribe. Click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. We appreciate you guys. As well, if you're looking for coaching, please shout me out on my email as well, lbb91talks@gmail.com, or you can hit me on my other email, but it's much easier on that particular one. You can hit me up on this email here for some coaching as well, and we'll put that in there for you guys as well. And also don't forget, if you haven't joined our Discord as well, you need to join the Discord, baby. We have conversations in there. I know they've been going wild tonight on the Ready to Love show, so I'll definitely pay attention to that. But join our Discord, get through, get on the Patreon, and get involved with the show. Patreon is Little Blackbird 91. That's our Patreon. And also our Cash App's Little Blackbird 91 and PayPal Little Blackbird 901. If you feel the need to share a little love, okay? But listen, it's been a good night. Say goodbye to your friends and the family. Them. If you have Discord, you can continue this chat over there. If you don't, you need to get involved. Someone said we need a dark arts bucket hat for that channel alter ego. You know what? You're good idea. That's a good idea, El Cid. A good idea. I'm gonna get on that. I appreciate you guys. Stay locked. Stay loaded. We'll see you again very, very soon. Let me end on a good note because you know what?
I'm leaving here with something.